You know, I think I might just start starting my show off from now on with one of the great lines of the weekend. Next question. I mean, that shit was great. Gardner Johnson, man. I mean, you know what? As much as I give that guy shit too, um, I should be. You know what? It's funny. Xander says this to me all the time. You know what, dude? How can you not like AJ and how can you not like Gardner Johnson? These guys are just as big as shit talkers as you. Welcome aboard. It is a football week, believe it or not, for the Eagles and other teams that are getting ready for the exhibition season. The inductions to the Hall of Fame were this past Saturday, which I thought were dope, especially the Steve McMichael ceremony. Seeing two Canes go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame also. The 10th and 11th players from the University of Miami have gone into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Look, I'll tell you this, man. All the hard work we did in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s and into the 2010s, I got to say this to you. Miami in the last 25 years has owned Canton. We're putting people in on a yearly basis. We still got Frank Gore. We still got Reggie Wayne. We still got Vince Wilfork. We still got a bunch of players that are still going to go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, this is just a kind of like a result of all those great teams that we had. I got to give it to my Canes brothers, man. That was absolutely awesome. By the way, I was informed that the Eagles made a move this morning that was a direct result of Clint Hurt. And you guys ended up bringing in Shaquille Quarterman, who's a former University of Miami player who I've spoken to and know very well. And I think he's played in about 63 games. So Clint, he recommended him to Vic, and then Vic recommended him to Howie Roseman. And that's why they made a roster move. And they brought him in. And that is a direct result of Clint Hurt. So we give you that little information here that, you know, one thing is for sure, on that side of the football, it is very evident that Vic Fangio has a control of what personnel and what guys are going to play on Sundays. There is no getting away from that. Okay? There is absolutely no getting around it. Guys, do me a favor. I know you have other options to go each and every single day, and you come here trying to get to 200 likes. Please hit the likes. We appreciate it. Angelo Cataldi will be with us at 4:30 Eastern time today. Xander also, what a great job him and John McMullen are doing for Birds 365 and also some of the extra work they're doing on weekends. 4 straight days of practice now coming up for the Eagles as they get ready for the Ravens. That will be on Friday. Bunch of stuff to take away, man. I mean, you know, I haven't talked to some of the folks in the building, people that cover the team. It was a pretty good weekend. We're going to talk about the Sunday practice first, then my takeaways from Vic Fangio, and also some of the player takeaways. So we're going to do that here in a second. But again, I thought that the practice and what these guys were doing on Sunday came to be a direct result of maybe the Thursday night game where they didn't really get the result they were looking for on defense. Okay? Yeah, Xander is stepping it up. He absolutely is. Prince, I appreciate you here, brother. You are missed. How about this, Prince? You are definitely missed, brother, when you are here. Okay? Okay? Yes. Sales, that linebacker they brought in isn't afraid to hit. He went head-to-head with Derrick Henry. Hey, Gator, I can't wait. Good look at that. Gator Zone Miami. I love it, brother. I can't wait to get that rivalry on August 31st, man. One of the greatest college football rivalries of all time. University of Miami versus University of Florida. Dude, I've never been in a more intense football game in a more intense environment in my life than that thing. There is nothing like a Gator and Hurricane game, especially in Gainesville. There is just nothing like it. I never played in a game like that in my life. It's just, I mean, it's crazy environment. It's crazy environment to go there and play that because everybody knows one another. play high school ball against each other. You play little football against one another. Some of the guys that you make all-star teams with, you see them in the offseason all the time. And I got a chance to see Kerwin Bell. Do you know how many times I ran into Kerwin? Kerwin Bell became a teammate of mine. Hey, how about this? Gator Zone Miami. You ready? Galen Hall was my head football coach at the professional ranks, along with Charlie Bailey, who was your D coordinator. Wes Chandler was a wide receiver coach on that football team when I played in the NFL's World League. I played for Galen Hall. And I loved Galen Hall. And Galen was somebody I used to fight against when he was the head coach at Florida when he took over for Charlie Pell. Man, great stuff, man. I can't wait till August 1st. All right, so let's fast forward it to a little bit of what we learned this past weekend. You're going to go, as I said, into 4 straight practices. They're definitely giving attention to Isaiah Rodgers. You know, I thought about Isaiah Rodgers and something that Xander said about Isaiah Rodgers. You know, Sills, he's not the most physical guy on the planet. Do you have to be physical in today's NFL? Shit, the NFL is trying to take the physicality out of the game. They don't want you hitting wide receivers. So they're trying to take the physicality out of the game. Doesn't that lead to more athleticism and more athletic type corners to play in today's NFL? That Vic Fangio style of defense, control and contain. Hey, big hitters at the cornerback position, that's not something you're going to see any longer. Those guys are not going to exist because that's not the NFL of today. I think it's rolling into being Rodgers and Slay at the cornerback position. Now, I don't think that's in stone. We're going to get to what Vic Fangio said here in a minute, but I don't think that's in stone. And they're trying to find a spot for Quinyon Williams. There's no question about it. They're trying to find a spot for him. Devin White and Zach Baun look like to be the linebackers, but that's not saying much. Trotter's getting more looks, which is a great thing. By the way, Vic Fangio is not going to play Jeremiah Trotter Jr. because his last name is Trotter Jr. That actually has nothing to do with it. Hey, it's a great story. Part of why the player got to Philly because his last name is Trotter Jr. And what happens with a player like that, unfortunately, the last name people are going to look at and go, hey, man, hopefully he's anything like his dad. When in the end is, I hope he can play. You know the thing that makes him, hey, is he a better athlete than Nakobe Dean? No. Did he have a better college career than Nakobe Dean? No. But he's more reliable than Nakobe Dean. And I think that's what Vic Fangio likes about him. Hey, dogs, you got to be reliable, man. If you're a great football player, that really has something to do with the equation and the evaluation. But, man, if you can't stay on the field, you're not going to play. And most notably, you're not going to be on the roster. I think Nakobe Dean is fading in the eyes of the coaches and the organization. Dude, you're bringing in linebackers. You're starting free agent linebackers over the kid. You're drafting linebackers. Don't you think the writing's on the wall here a little bit? Majority of the reps are going to Zach Baun. By the way, coaches are pointing him out for his toughness and his versatility. That's not a good sign for him. Dude, the worst thing you can be is a player and you're hearing other names but yours being mentioned. When you're in training camp and you're fighting for, I don't think Nakobe Dean any longer is fighting for a job. I think he's fighting for a roster spot. Hey, JM, I didn't hear him. I heard him. You see what JM's trying to do? He's trying to sit there and tell you that he talked him up. No, he didn't. He said 3 words about him. Hey, he's playing okay. The more the conversation is about Zach Baun, head coach is even fucking talking about him. He talked him up in the presser. Yeah, he had a good day. He didn't have a good night Thursday. That's talking him up? Yeah, okay, guy. That's JM's talking him up. He didn't play real well Thursday, but he's had a couple good games. Well, shit, if that's your basis, this guy's fighting for a roster spot. Solid? I don't need anybody solid. I need somebody who can play. Give me a break. Stop lying and making excuses for people that can't play. By the way, you know what he said about the linebacking core? Nothing set in stone. Nothing set in stone. Okay. I do believe Isaiah Rodgers, you know, he's the more technically sound guy. I think he's going to be your corner on the other side. I think Mitchell's going to play in nickel, and I think he's also going to play in the slot. By the way, Cooper DeJean probably won't be ready, I would say, until the bye. I would say the bye that he'd be ready for. So let's put this all into context for Sunday's practice. Okay? And one thing I'll say to you about the environment that you had this past Thursday, your linebackers are awful, like I said, and pointed out to you. Even get this, Vic Fangio said you can't play a good defense without good inside linebackers. And you don't have them. You're not a Super Bowl defense. It's a work in progress. How come this? The only person that is agreeing with everything that I've been telling you about your defense is Vic Fangio. Everything I told you. Everything I told you. He's echoing. He's echoing. JM goes that Trotter was laughed at. Then why is he getting more reps than Dean? See, what JM doesn't know, because he's never been in a practice like that before. When you get more reps than the other guy, they're looking at you more. They're looking at Trotter more. He's getting more reps than Dean is. Okay? I did listen to the interview. I listened to the exact interview. Bro, if you think that Vic Fangio was kissing that guy's ass, I'm going to agree to disagree with you. And you can sit back and listen to the rest of the show, because I'm not having a conversation with somebody that fucking heard something completely different than what I heard. And nobody on the planet heard that way. Even John McMullen this morning was like, hey, man, this kid's got to pick it up. He's fighting for a roster spot now. Okay. I heard something interesting. So Vic Fangio's taking an old school style 6 front and he's implementing it. It's almost like the old school Jerry Claiborne wide tackle 6. I hadn't seen that in a long time. The Jerry Claiborne used to be the head coach of the Maryland Terrapins, and I believe he is a guy who took that wide tackle 6 from Alabama and from Bear Bryant, because I think he coached at A&M with Coach Bryant, and I know he coached at Alabama with him. It's an old school. Now, don't get taken by it and think that it's outdated, because it's not. It's an old school way of getting pressure without bringing blitzing. Okay? It's an old school way of doing that. That's right. 626, you have 0 linebackers. They all stink. Don't kid yourself. There's not a linebacker on that team another team would want. That's why you're signing linebackers now off the street. Hey, when you sign linebackers off the street, you ain't got anybody on your team right now. Absolutely. Bryce Huff is still not a 3-down lineman. There's no question about it. So just a little bit more on that wide tackle 6 look. I played in it when I was at Maryland my freshman year. They were called back then DGs, defensive guards. Randy White played in that. It's almost a style of flex. It's an old school way to get to the quarterback. But here's what happens when you do that. Put a ton of pressure on your middle linebacker, and an absolute ton of pressure on your corners. And you got to play 10 yards off the ball. Okay? 10 yards off the ball. If you're going to play that six front. Third and long, probably. I don't think you're going to see a ton of that. Okay? I don't. Okay? Flexen goes, how do you get us linebackers? That ship sailed, dude. That ship sailed. You don't have linebackers. You didn't address them in the draft. You didn't address them in free agency. But telling you since free agency started. Been telling you that. Guys keep telling me about these guys that you're so-called talking to me about. I mean, your defense right now is immature. You got a couple spots on that football team that look good. Okay? Couple spots on that team that look pretty decent. All right. Let me get into Vic Fangio and what Vic said. Please hit the like button, guys. Appreciate it. Edge, at this point, Sills will, with Bradbury and DeJean cross-training at safety, I'm dropping Reed, Blankenship to Mike next to Devin White. No way, man. Can't do that, dude. You're going to have a more inexperienced player with less technique playing linebacker for you. You got to remember something, Edge. It's not the fact that he can't do it. He doesn't know the technique. This is not junior football where you can just drop somebody down like that. Edgerrin Cooper was the answer over Cooper DeJean. Senor, I begged them to draft him. The kid out of A&M or the kid from NC State are both going to start for respected teams in Green Bay and Pittsburgh. Okay? I told you to take those guys. They didn't want to address it. And by the way, I'm not telling you that DeJean's a bad player. I'm just telling you linebacker was more of a need. Still, Peyton Wilson is a problem. Why didn't we sign him? Another Howie miss. Hey, Prince, remember the first guy I said when it came to the draft was this. You got to get that kid from A&M. You know, he's not going to go in the first round. He's going to go either in the second or third round, and you're going to get a steal off him. Maybe the kid from NC State also. He's got a little bit more of a history of injury, so you might want to go with the A&M kid. And remember something about A&M. You had Dumbo Fisher down there. You think he fucking knows what he's doing? Of course he doesn't. But one thing he does know is how to sign players. I will flat out tell you, Dumbo Fisher, when he was down there at College Station, he knew how to acquire players. But when it came to coaching them, he's a fucking moron. And he can't coach. Sills, he won a national title. Yeah, because he had the team in the ACC and he recruited like a Southeastern Conference coach. He got that job at College Station because he knew how to recruit the southeastern part of the United States. He's a really good recruiter, but he thinks he knows. You know the good thing about Saban? Saban doesn't call fucking plays at Alabama. That's why he hires the best coordinators on the planet. He gets involved when he sees something. Dumbo Fisher thinks he can actually play call. He can't. Okay? I didn't think the kid Colson was poor. The kid from Michigan could have got him in the fourth round. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Chargers signed him. Hey, this just shows you the glaring, absolute, disgusting, the mistake that you made. To this day, you haven't replaced TJ Edwards, and he was undrafted, and you found him at Wawa. You found him at Wawa. That's how crazy that is. You found him at Wawa, developed him into one of the top 5 inside linebackers in the league, and you allowed him to walk out the room, and now the Bears have the best unit in the league. There, once again, is all these people in Philly telling me how great a talent evaluator that Howie is on defense. That's a pure fucking mistake. And you could have signed him for $6 million. And you got clearing. Even Vic knows your backers stink. Okay? So do you think nil in college football now is going to make drafts that much harder for Philadelphia? No. I think it's going to make it easier. You know why? Go to the places that have all the money, because that's where all the kids are going to be that are good. I think nil makes college football easier. I'm going to start recruiting kids from Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, Miami, Clemson. You think I'm going to recruit a kid from Notre Dame? They don't have nil programs at Notre Dame or Stanford. No, thank you. I have no interest in that. How much you paying me? I'm not paying you. Next. Okay, next. Look at Dick Train. Miami Hurricanes suck, except on Hall of Fame induction day. Is that right, Dick Train? Except on NFL Hall of Fame induction day does Miami suck. Next. Let me guess, Sills doesn't have the balls to talk about the gang and violence accusations against Shiloh Sanders at Colorado. I think those guys up there in Colorado are showmen. Danny hates Notre Dame. Old wounds. Why would I hate Notre Dame, Barb? 40-0 and 58-7. You make it sound like Notre Dame was something that we were concerned about. Notre Dame was roadkill. Yeah, hey, once again, JM, Colorado's irrelevant. They're a 5-win team. I don't talk about 5-win teams. Wake me up when they're relevant. Okay? Eagles D-line sucks right now. Edge rusher's too small. Let's get to what Vic said. Guys, please hit the like button. Sills, we also never replaced Kaiser White. Think about that. You didn't even replace a guy that had 120 tackles on your outside linebacker. You haven't replaced 300 tackles. Going on your third year now. How about that? Dan Sileo, I heard Bond has been playing good. I heard they love him. Don't you think he could be a good linebacker? Let's see him in the games. Fangio was talking about his versatility. JM goes 40 years ago. No, that was Saturday, dickhead. That was Saturday. 2 Canes went in. Year before that, 2 Canes. Year before that, a Cane. I think pretty much the last 3 years, or at least last 4 or 5 years, Miami's put a player in the Hall of Fame almost every year. That ain't 40 years ago. That's right now. He says, did you hear? Yeah, did you hear Vic say? Yep, I did hear that. We're going to get to that. Okay? Please hit the like button, guys. Dan, love your brutal takes. That's why I watch, and you're right. Letting TJ go was such a glaring mistake. Charlie, and you had the kid. Okay? You had the kid. Who signed Barkley for some money? Pittsburgh signed Queen. We could have had both. Or you could have had Xavier McKinney playing in your safety position. Dude, they spend no money over there. By the way, they didn't spend any money on Bryce Huff. They gave him Hassan Reddick's contract. Don't miss Super Chat, Sills. Did I miss one? Let's see here. Golden. Oh, okay. Golden set Miami back, folks. Don't pay attention. He totally did. Al Golden with the University of Miami Owls. The fuck does Temple know about winning football games? Give me a break. Honestly, it's like hiring Matt Rule as your head coach. What the fuck would he know about winning games? Head coach at Temple. What? How about a coach that's won somewhere? Give me a break. I seriously, I used to call them the Miami Owls. What would he possibly know? Have you changed your mind about Hurts? No. Do you think he can get them to the NFC Championship game? With that defense? No, but there's a shot he plays a lot better this year. Sills, plug Peyton Wilson in over Jalen Hunt and keep Trotter pick, and they would have had to address the big holes. Absolutely. Okay? You want to go to the NFL? Come to Miami. DRC. Absolutely. Absolutely. You still do. Look at the edge rushers that they've been putting out. By the way, Calais Campbell will be a Hall of Famer. Hey, respect Temple? Why? What'd you guys do? Invent a new vaccine? Your football program blows. I mean, what do you want me to say? At this point, should the Eagles say fuck it at linebacker and just play Trotter? No. Dude, you can't pay that kind of money on that side of the football and just call it a day on defense. You can't do that. No, man. You can't be waving flags and wasting Jalen Hurts' prime and some of those wide receivers' prime. You're not in that position. This is not about building the Eagles. Dude, the NFC is not that good. So your defense doesn't have to be spectacular. Like Xander does say this, and he's right. Hey, get to the game. Let's see what happens. Let's roll the dice. Give me 60 minutes of football. You never know what happens. It's one game. It ain't a 7-game series. Anything can happen in a 60-minute football game. I've been on the side of shocking someone and on the side of being shocked. Anything can happen in a 60-minute football game. Okay? Anything. Dean is only decent at blitzing the quarterback. Yeah, because you have no responsibilities. You can't cover. He can't cover. He can't tackle. Can't stay healthy. So use the one thing. Vic's trying to find a spot for him. So blitz him. One thing Vic Fangio doesn't do. To find a starting player and get him undrafted, they developed him just to see him leave. Your green dot LB gone. Dude, Forrest, how about this? He's a star now in Chicago. Howie Roseman made him a millionaire now. And one of the top 5 inside linebackers in the league. Hey, is he Fred Warner? No. Is he Patrick Queen even? No. Is he Roquan Smith? No. But do you put him on the second level in the second tier? Yeah. And you had him. Big Sills, just a Canadian Eagle fan since Gang Green. I love the show. Hate some of your takes, but I always come back for more. Only trust Birds 365 and you for my Eagle content. That's really cool of you, man. Bob, Sills, any of your sources at NovaCare mentioned Brandon Smith, linebacker, the kid is 6'3", 240. Hey, right now, man, I think they're in a shuffling of the deck there at linebacker. I could tell you this. That was Clint Hurts' recommendation to bring in Shaquille and, at least take a look at him to see if he can help. He's a pretty good run stopper. I thought he was often injured at UM. I thought he was a good player. I didn't think he was an exceptional player. But Clint likes him, knows him. So they recommended him to Vic, and then Vic sent it up to Howie, and Howie brought him in. So I was told this over the weekend, Saturday, actually, that they were bringing him in. I knew it Saturday that they were bringing him in, especially after what they saw in that mess on Thursday. Okay, so, hey, Flexing goes, that dude's not doing shit. Well, you got a toilet bowl full of linebackers right now, dude. He can't hurt. All right. Let's get to Vic Fangio. And my takeaways. By the way, outside of John McMullen, care what the fucking reporters who cover that team say. I mean, why in the world do I have to get it from, hey, Gardner Johnson is perfect in how he treats the Philly media. That's exactly how you treat him. Give him shit. If I want to get stuff, I get it from the coaches' mouths themselves, not by some guy's opinion on what he thinks he heard. You know, it's funny. Xander the other day was doing this too. You know, he said, that's not how I took it. Okay. See, there's a prime example of Xander hearing something different, talking about it differently than what I talked about it. I'm not saying I'm right. But at least I made my own assessment from what the coach said, not by what some reporter said. We both made our own assessments by what we heard from the guy himself. That's fine. That's just difference of opinion. I'm talking about Dean. Read correctly, fat ass. Thanks for the $1.99 flexion. Appreciate it. All right, let me get into what my takeaways were for Vic Fangio over this past, probably from Thursday to today. Okay? I love the fact that Vic Fangio, listen to this. Isn't this fucking awesome? This is all you need to know about Vic Fangio. Guys, this is without a doubt the greatest thing you can ever hear a coach say. Vic was asked the question. So you're going to be upstairs and you're going to be calling defenses from up in the box. Yeah, and he goes, every position player or every position coach will be on the sidelines. He's going to have a spotter and he's going to have some assistants near him, but it's going to be all him. Why is that? I don't want to hear what a guy thinks he's seeing. I want to see it myself. Coaches sit up here, owners sit up here, GMs sit up here. I'm sitting up here. I'm not taking the word of some fucking guy's voice, sending it down to me on the sidelines on what his observation is. I'm looking at it, making my own decision. What was the words he was using? I'm not taking some guy's word for what he thought he saw. I was like, it's the best answer you can say, man. He's like this. Hey, I don't care what that guy thinks he saw. He goes, we're going to call this play. Okay? I mean, great stuff, man. He's right. All position coaches are going to be on the field and not up with him. He don't want to hear from him. What did he say? Yeah, they're going to echo what I want to the players. There is one rooster in the hen house, and that motherfucker, it's Vic Fangio. He don't have anybody suggesting shit to him. Nothing. He ain't got shit. Okay? No, all position coaches will be on the sidelines talking to their players. We'll be echoing what I'm saying and what I want. Okay. One rooster in the building. Vic Fangio was involved in bringing back Gardner Johnson. Need a little attitude on this motherfucker. Bring his ass back. He goes, he was right to say this. Howie made the decision. Think about that. Howie made the decision for coaches. I hate that dynamic. Howie should never have the last call. It should be a coach's call. This is what I want, not what you want. Fuck that guy. You need a step stool to look at half these players and coaches. What would you possibly know about building a defense? You never have. What would you possibly know? You make massive mistakes on that side of the ball. As good as he is on building that offense, he is horrific on that side of the ball. Sorry, guys. I will not relent on that. He is terrible. Now, is that by the organization? You know, I hear people, and I even hear some of the guys on Birds 365 going, a lot of talent over there. Talent's code for not having done anything. Prospects, bullshit like that. Not when you have 2 free agents starting for you at linebacker. And your top edge rusher is a free agent. Both your corners are free agents. And now you're working. But by the way, Isaiah Rodgers, if Isaiah Rodgers and Darius Slay start, there we are again. 2 dudes you didn't draft. And by the way, and I'm not saying probably Quinyon Mitchell's not up to speed yet. That's okay. Hey, and don't think I don't like the kid. I do. Not saying that. Thoughts on Gardner Johnson talking no shit in the presser. I'm going to get to it. Okay? Hey, Pete, man, I didn't know how this guy was going to peel off to younger players and shit. That really has no bearing. I like what he's doing. I do. I like the attitude that Gardner Johnson is bringing. Seals, if Fangio stays next year, what position do you think he's gonna be next foundational piece? I think he's going to be an edge rusher, and I think he'll take a linebacker 2nd or 3rd round. Something like that. Seals, Howie needs to commit to Becton at right guard and then move Tyler Steen to OT for LB. We have an interior offensive line depth. Move Steen before he hurts his trade value like they did with Andre Dillard. It's a good thought process. Plus you put Becton in a position where that if he pans out, you sign him to a contract. 2 players you haven't replaced since 22. Isaac Seumalo and TJ Edwards. You just have not replaced those 2 men. You have not. You might hear with Becton. You might hear. Okay? And I like the idea of not devaluing the value of Tyler Steen by making him a swing tackle, swing guard, what have you, and creating him as a depth piece. I do like that idea. Okay? Since no linebackers available, any defensive lineman you would recommend to bring in? Al Woods, Linval Joseph. Eagles podcast. Call the Chargers and see what the deal is with Joey Bosa. And by the way, call a shitty team like the Raiders. What are you going to do with Max Crosby? What's the point of paying Max Crosby that salary? If you're going to move off of Khalil Mack the way that the Raiders did back in the past, what's the one thing you can always count on with the Raiders? They're cheap. If you gave the Raiders the right trade package, I believe they would do the move. Tom Telesco would do it. You know why? They're cash poor. That's not a rich owner, Mark Davis. But you're going to have to give up equity pieces for a guy that's 26 years old and one of the 10 best players in the league. Okay? Remember, the Raiders moved off of Khalil Mack. They would move off of Max Crosby. Okay? They would move off of him. They've talked about moving off of him in the offseason. Right deal. Hey, dude, here's the one thing you got to remember. I would say there's only one player in the National Football League that's untradeable. And that's the guy in Kansas City. The rest of them, if the package is right, I'll trade anybody if it makes my team better. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. There's no doubt they're going to play a ton of players at linebacker to see if they can find the right pieces. Okay? Homie plays every down, too. Prince, he's such a force. Pete goes Raiders. Get this. Here, look at what Pete just said. Pete, you're right, by the way. You're not wrong. Look at this. Raiders don't want to pay a quarterback. Well, then what the fuck would make you think they'd want to pay a rush end? Right, Pete? Pete, think of that. They don't even want to pay a quarterback. Why would they pay a rush end? They wouldn't. They wouldn't. I mean, yeah, Crosby's not 30. He's 26. Sills, I'd offer LV a first and a fourth for Crosby. Might be overpaying payment. Burns was a second and 5, but nobody will care when he locks down the edge. Hey, dude, you have Max Crosby and Bryce Huff on one in each end, or you have Josh Sweat and Max Crosby with Carter and Davis in the middle. Now we're talking. Now we're talking about getting after folks. Even the kid Hendrickson in Cincinnati, I'm good with. He's an underrated ball player. He's an underrated player. Could be Trotter that eventually does earn the mic job. I don't think he's ready yet, but they're giving him a lot of reps. Agree with Johnny Mac that Van Sumeren should get a look. Dude, I think nothing is in stone at the linebacker position right now for the Eagles. Okay? This is so great. Miss having hard-ass coaches. Well, Dylan, you got him. Hey, Prince. Crosby, Huff, Dean, and Carter. And Milton's in there somewhere too. Hey, dog. That's as good as it gets. You're getting after people's asses with that D-line. Dude, even if, hey, that's why the kid from Tennessee doesn't make sense, because you've already put the equity in with the 2 draft picks at 9 and 13. You're not going to go trade for Simmons in Tennessee. You need an edge guy. Guy in Cincinnati. Call Tobin and call Duke Tobin and see what he wants to do with him. They were talking to dealing him anyway. Atlanta made a move for him. Sills, with CJ going down today during practice and they put in Bradbury as his backup, do you think we should go out and sign Simmons? See? Hey, Eduardo, this is exactly why Bradbury is on the team. Bradbury is Vic Fangio's safety net. He doesn't know what he has with the young guys. Okay? Hey, by the way, I think James Bradbury is in the catbird seat in Philly. Here's why. If they cut him, 15 teams will sign him. Not to the same salary, obviously, because they'll sign him on league minimum, but teams will sign him. And the Eagles are in a position where, what do we really have? Who are these kids? Isaiah Rodgers is winning the left corner position, or cornerback 2. What's that tell you about your young guys? Ain't quite ready. Ain't quite ready. I think Keely Ringle's going to be a great player. You know what, though? Needs more reps. What is the one thing that makes a football player great? Playing more football. Not in practice. Playing more football. Simple. This is not hard. Cooper definitely isn't ready. He won't be ready until the bye. Thank you, Prince. Please hit the like button. Sills, the thing that Simmons does is he solidifies the position if Davis doesn't have it in the tank with his size. Bob, I'd rather have Justin Simmons. Here's why. If my linebacker sucked that bad, I need to have reliability at that safety position. That is the problem you have. Here, think about it. Bob, do you agree or not agree? If players get past the first line of defense, the D-line, your backers ain't making plays. They're going to run into safeties and free safeties. And if those guys aren't reliable, they're going to run and they're only thing they're going to hit is the barn door in the end zone. Okay? You got to have reliability and durability back there. Reed Blankenship's okay. Don't you want stability and reliability back there? I mean, if your linebackers were exceptionally talented and they were great, I'm gonna play my younger guys back there. But with my linebacking core being so poor, I've got to have reliability at that safety, both safety positions, free and strong, and slot. Or guess what? Running backs and receivers are going to slam into the goalpost because they're going to be so wide open. Your linebackers are the worst in pro football. He knows that. He knows that. Okay? You know the only advantage you really have is that the NFC, I don't think, is deep outside of 4 teams. But if you were in the NFC, you'd have problems all night. You ain't playing with that defense against Lamar and Allen and Mahomes and Burrow. You're not going down the list with Stroud and them guys and beating those teams. You got your own defensive coordinator talking shit on his own personnel. This isn't me. I'm echoing him. You guys can get mad all you want. This is Vic Fangio talking. Look at this guy. You're crazy. Devin White's a stud. He'll show it. Devin White is someone's trash. Guys are delusional. Like I said, there's just zero talent at linebacker. Huff is still a work in progress, according to Vic. You sign a guy who's a work in progress on a team that can't stop the run or pass. Now, look, I'm going to give you this. One thing that I do agree with, having watched some of the film and some of the stuff that went on, there was no tackling, okay? And that is a factor, and the quarterback wasn't live. So there is a dynamic to that. There is a dynamic. Remember something, folks. These are Vic Fangio's words, not mine. Okay? These are his. And here's LJ, once again, with the fucking preposterous thing again. You wanted us to trade a first rounder for Devin White last year. That's right. So did everyone in the league. And by the end of the year, the Bucs and him were talking about a $100 million contract. By the end of the year, his play became so poor, the player dictated why they let him walk. He got worse, just like Carson Wentz did. A player's career is not set in stone at any time. This is not hot take shit. Once again, if a player gets better or worse, it's on the player. Not my fucking take. Devin White became a casualty of his own ineptness and his own ability. That's why he's on a 1-year, $3 million deal. Star linebackers who go from a $100 million contract conversation, which he was in with Jason Light, facts, to where they looked at him and now the Eagles signed him to a 1-year, $3-year deal. Senor goes, this is flip-flop shit. It's Carson Wentz shit. You flip-flopped on him, dog. You guys thought he was great. He sucked in the end. What happened? You flip-flopped. Did you not? The Sills killed. What? Hey, dude, have a great day. How about this? Let's take the words of Vic Fangio here. These are his words. Bryce Huff is a work in progress. He's a work in progress. You gave $18 million to a guy who you didn't have a guy on the other side who could protect him. And you let Hassan Reddick walk. Nice move. Okay? Okay? How about this? He said something that was so great today that makes you understand why you have to have versatile linebackers and versatile players all over the field. It's fantastic. And if you think about it, he's right. He said something today that most people won't pick up. You know what that is? That today's NFL is more in space today than it's ever been. And that's why you have to have versatility at both your edges, and also you have to have it in your linebacking core. And he's dead on. Today's game is in space. Okay? It's not in the phone booth like it used to, because that's why the running backs are no longer an essential part of what they're doing. It was really a great take by him. He said this flat out. If we're going to be a good defense, we have to have good inside linebackers. And right now, it's a work in progress. Code for we suck. These are your own coordinator rules and sayings, what he's saying to you right now. Okay? This is exactly what he's saying to you. I so love this guy. By the way, I love the fact that he said that he loves Milton Williams. What have we been telling you for the last 3 years about him? Guy's a versatile player. I think I've been telling Xander this as well. This guy could play in a 5 or 7, wide 7. Play him up and down the line of scrimmage. Vic even made a play for him last year when he was with the Dolphins, try to get him and trade for him to bring him down to Miami. So when I tell you that there is a massive market out there for Milton Williams, trust me when I tell you, you might get a second rounder for that guy. Howie didn't want to trade him. When Chris Greer called, he wanted to trade him. Dolphins were going to give up a 3. Same as they drafted him. Howie said no. Howie said no for a 3rd-round pick for Milton Williams. Remember when I told you Milton Williams, everyone's saying this. I was making a comment. Milton Williams has not lost his value since he's been drafted. Look at Nakobe Dean's value. That guy's a free agent, lucky to be in the league. This guy, how many years has Milton Williams been in Philadelphia? Can you guys tell me? How many years has he been in Philadelphia? And he's primarily been a backup. How many years has he been in Philly? This is fourth year? Going on to his 4th year? How does a guy who never starts, 3 years, how does a guy who never starts not lose his value? It's a great draft pick. It's a great draft pick. Doesn't start. And you could get a 2 for him. Or how we would want a 2. Or a low 1. Let me say this to you. That guy plays like I think he's going to play this year. That guy will make $15 million in the open market. He's played his last down in Philly. Or his last year, I should say. That guy's going to command big money. Big money. Zach Bond. Hey, all you Devin White lovers, this is what he said about Zach Bond. Versatile. Love him inside and outside. He's going to play a ton. He brings a sense of toughness to the team. We like him a lot, and I like him a lot. Well, if you're Nakobe Dean, that ain't a good thing. And now they just signed a linebacker. That's the writing's on the wall, son. You're fighting for a roster spot now. All you Devin White lovers, He's fighting for a job. You know who Devin White is this year? He is the 2024 Rashad Penny. Nolan Smith. Got to utilize his speed. He's too small. I hear big talk. He's just as brutal as it gets. Okay? Just as brutal as it gets. Nolan Smith. Hey, he's not the biggest guy, so he's got to use his speed. I was going to say Jalen Reagor. Okay. Hey, yeah, well, according to some folks, go listen to the interview. He said he's not the biggest guy on the planet. Nolan Smith, man, there's another guy you could chalk up to, well, the land of mediocrity. Quinyon Mitchell, drafted him as a corner. That's what he said. They're trying to find a spot for him on the field. Hey, Sills, if Vic has control, why would he allow Howie to pay $18 million for Huff when he could have kept Reddick? Don't give me locker room issues. Oh, I don't think there's anything to do with locker room issues more so than this. Reddick didn't want to drop in coverage. Vic wants his guys dropping in coverage. I think it's as simple as that. By the way, once again, I'll make this point to you too, 34. When you do your homework on the guy and you see he only played 480 snaps last year, I can't wait to see what he does with 900 snaps. He's going to have to double his snaps. Even though when I say this to you, every guy who doubled their snaps last year on the Eagles, their production went down. But his will go up, right? Okay. How about he said that they got to improve in tackling a little bit? Got to improve on tackling. I think that's kind of hard, though. I think that's kind of an old school comment. Because how do you improve on your tackling? Please hit the like button, guys. Thank you, Prince. Big Sills, why is everyone so opposed to putting best team on the field regardless of draft stock or name on the back of the jersey? It's a great question. Here's why. Because there's certain people in here that suck off Howie Roseman. No matter what he does, they think this guy's the best GM or the greatest GM on the planet. He's not. He makes great deals. He finds guys. He's better on the pro side. College evaluating. Dude, how many loser wide receivers have you gone through with him to get to Devontae? 10? How many loser edge rushers have you gone through? You still don't have one. How many loser corners have you gone through to land on one? Maybe Williams? How many loser linebackers have you drafted just to be cut? I mean, I'm with you, Darren. The one thing that I always gave great kudos to for New England was no matter what round you were drafted, they were playing the best guy available. Darren, think of this for a second here. The New England Patriots give Drew Bledsoe $117 million the year before he got hurt with a $19 million signing bonus. Back then, it was a big deal, right? He gets hurt against the Jets. Mo Lewis. Kid Brady comes in. 6th-round draft pick. Goes the rest of the season. Then he gets hurt. Bledsoe comes back in the AFC title game, and he wins it. Instead of sticking with the experienced guy and the money guy, he goes to Bob Kraft and says, you know what? I'm hanging with the 6th-rounder. You know why? Because in New England, the best player plays. Not the highest paid player or the highest drafted player. That's why they won, man. It's about playing the best people. You're right. But see, Howie's got so much autonomy. He's in so many different sandboxes that one of the sandboxes, by the way, it's not that bad a deal. That, he's great at contracts. He's great at manipulating contracts. I think he's great at finding players on rosters, pro personnel, other players that have been developed. Darius Slay, Gardner Johnson, A.J. Brown. These are some of his best moves, but what are they? They're pro personnel. They're not college personnel. They're not college personnel decisions. And he's really good at that. He stinks at defensive personnel. You're going to go like this. Jalen Carter. Dude, 9th pick? That guy could have been the 3rd pick. Wasn't that hard? I think you overdrafted Jordan Davis. I'll still hold to that, and I say that to this day. And I don't think he's not a first rounder. It's not what I'm saying. By the way, Angelo Cataldi will be with us at the bottom of the hour. Sills, the moves, trade Steen to Cincinnati for Hendrickson. Trade 1 and 4 to Las Vegas for Crosby. Sign Justin Simmons. Hendrickson, Crosby, Milton, Huff rotation. Bob, that's the perfect world. That would be an absolutely insane perfect world if you were able to pull that off. I mean, absolutely a perfect world. It's not over drafting if other teams wanted him. Like who? Is there at least 27 other GMs worse than Howie? Chipped. You're missing my point. He does so many things well. But what the problem is that the ramifications of what happened to him with Chip Kelly, I mean, he has to have total control. He's the only general manager, really, that I've seen with these successful coaches that has complete control. Nick Sirianni works for him. In other places, the GM works with the head coach. You think Jim Harbaugh's got a boss? You think John Harbaugh's got a boss? You think Brian DaCosta is his or Nick DaCosta is his boss? He's not. He's not. Skip here. Let's now go into Nick Sirianni. Okay. Sills, what about trading for Logan Wilson, linebacker, for the Bengals? Why would the Bengals do that, man? The Bengals are in the run right now to win the NFC. He's a good football player. I'm with you. I mean, but why would they do that? He's a good player, man. Thank you so much, Prince. Prince is kicking ass right here, man. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it. Sills, the things that Howie does well allow him to mask his huge issues with the draft completely, man. By the way, I'm not telling you Quinion Mitchell's a bad pick, or I'm not even saying Cooper DeJean's a bad pick. I don't know yet. Okay? Seals, do you honestly think you can do a better job than Howie? No. I'm commenting what he's done. You're missing the point, guy. I never said at any time I could do a better job. When did I say that? When did I ever say I wanted to be a GM? Never. I don't know what you're talking about, Jay Brown. I'm talking about the shit he's done. I'm talking about his track record. Not about whether I can do it better. I wasn't hired to be a GM. He was. You're evaluated on your record, bro. Not what you think he's doing. So I don't know what you're talking about. Do I think I could do a better? No. I've never been in a personnel role in my life. What's that got to do with his failures? Has nothing to do with it. Madness goes, Sills, most people hate the truth. Don't ever explain. No, I mean, Madness. What's funny is I'm telling you who he is and they don't like it. You're right. and what he's done or not done. I give him his kudos. And like you said, I don't have to justify shit here. Here's Sirianni. You know, Sirianni stops himself and he cuts himself off. But I'll tell you one thing. Hey, Nick, shut the fuck up and over-explaining shit. Please just answer a question normally instead of these soliloquies that you go into. My God almighty. Hey, we're having a good week. Things look good. Communication's working great. Love the way the coaches are working together. Next question. Holy shit, this guy goes into some fucking diatribe. You're sitting there going, okay, shut up. Nope. Another 4 minutes answering a stupid question. I'll tell you one thing that he is great at. He should work at the State Department because you know why? You're only going to get 3 questions in. If you got 15 minutes with him, be prepared only to get 7 questions because he'll run you out of the interview. It's a cool trick. It's a cool trick. Okay? The longer the answer, the less the questions. That's what our politicians do. Remember that. The reason why Belichick was so great at it on the Cincinnati. Hey, is the player injured or not? What do you think? He goes, no, that's the medical people. You want to talk to them. We coach, they're the doctors. Next. Coach, is there any thought process of we got to play better? We got to tackle better? Got to coach better? Here's a Bill Belichick interview. Here's totally a Bill Belichick interview. Hey, Coach, that was a pretty tough game this last week. Got to coach better. Players got to play better. Got to be more in tune to what we're doing. Now we're on to Cincinnati. Coach, any thought about moving? Got to play better. Got to coach better. Each week's a new week. Coach, what about the injury to the tackle? You need to talk to the medical people. I coach their medical guys. They're doctors. Coach, any thought about rotating new wide receivers? Nah, we got the group we need right now. Very good in what we have. We're very happy with what we have, and we're going to go forward here. Just need to coach better and play better. These questions that Nick answers, holy shit. Shut the fuck up. Good night. And by the way, stop kissing the guy's ass for doing his gig. That ESP guy, totally a Bob Lang. Hey, Nick's having a camp. How can a coach have a great camp? Players have great camps. Nick's having a great camp by what? Staying out of the way? Holy cow. Wait a minute. Let me get this right. That ESP idiot saying Nick's having a good camp. Why? Because he's out of the way? I'm not sure how to take that. Hey, Nick's getting out of the way. Okay? Nick's out of the way. He's having a great camp. Okay, I guess. Fuck. Hey, Nick's out of the way, but he's having a good camp. Okay. I guess so, dude. Congratulations, Nick. You're having a really good camp. You're out of the way. What a dick. Hey, they like this guy Shipley. They like him. Xander don't like him. But Nick and everyone else compared him to Danny Woodhead. I was like, Danny Woodhead was a really good ball player. And they think he reminds them of Danny Woodhead. Tough. Good. Funny, I never saw any of that at Clemson. Danny Woodhead? Will Shipley's Danny Woodhead. Oh, hey, we'll see. Get a first look at that this weekend. Prince is right. Peyton Wilson should have been our LB. As an Eagle fan in Steelers country, it sucks to see him. He's the first guy out there as a rookie. Hey, Layla, he's starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I said the guy Edgerrin Cooper who's starting for the Packers. I go grab one of those two guys. Make your team. Nope. Nope. Zach Bond. Huh. Mikey says, Nick's having a great camp. He's improving at shining. How he shoots a kiss in the center of the bullseye, Mikey. Barb goes, Steelers have no quarterback. Barb, they haven't had a quarterback in the last 4 years since what's-his-face left. Since the guy who likes to take out chicks, and you know where he takes them to, Barb. He likes to take them to shit houses and make out there in the stalls. Ben Roethlisberger. He's a real classy guy. Hey, where do you want to go to make out? How about a toilet? Nick has improved the smoothie machine. Peyton Wilson was there in the third. I know he was. Micaiah Becton, though. You notice one thing they don't want to do? I'll tell you, tell me you did it and you are noticing this. By the way, Xander will join us at the bottom of the hour. And then at 4:30, our friend Angelo Cataldi will join us. You notice what Nick did on, was it Sunday that he talked? Was it Sunday that he spoke to the media? Notice what he said and how he said it about Micaiah Becton. Yeah, he's getting the reps. Looks good over there. I don't want to commit to anything now. Why? Howie drafted Tyler Steen in the third. Becton's a free agent. See how they look at players? Becton's a better player. Micaiah Becton's a better player. Howie drafted that guy, though, Tyler Steen. You don't actually believe Tyler Steen's a better ball player than Micaiah Becton. Nobody does. Guess what happens? So you got to pay. Hey, Micaiah Becton turns out and he plays well. You got to pay him, or you got to let him roll. Tyler Steen, he drafted him in the third. That's why Nick answered this the way he did. You notice how Nick answers questions versus Vic? Guy's not ready to play. Here's Nick. Well, I don't want to be committed there in anything at right guard right now. Well, who's playing the best, Nick? The guy who's available. I'll say it one more time that he's right on this one. Not live on hitting the quarterback and not live on tackling. You still got to put that out there and put that in the machine, in the equation, in the evaluation. So you've got to walk it back a little bit. That the defense was murdered this past Thursday. So you have to walk it back. Okay, you do a little bit. You got to kind of like, there's no tackling, no live simulation on hitting the quarterback. The quarterback's not live. There's some truth to that. You got to pull up on the quarterback because he's not live. Okay, it's true. Thank you, Prince. Please hit the like button, folks. Appreciate it. Still mad at Howie for drafting Tyler Steen over Jones. I'll say this to you, too. Music. End of the day here, too, man. Our good friend Barrett Brooks said he wasn't quite sure about Steen being taken that high. Sills. So I was right then, Sills. On what? Say, refresh me, Prince. You were right on what? Why doesn't any of the media guys say, Nick, in 30 words, in 30 words or less, can you describe camp so far? That's a great take. Hey, Nick, in less than 30 seconds, can you tell me? Oh, my God, it would be an insult. That's why. Hey, Nick, in less than 10 seconds, can you tell me what you think of camp so far? So I can get another fucking question in. It'd be more of an insult if you did something like that to a head coach. Okay. Hey, by the way, Steve goes like this. These aren't great takes. What do you mean? These are your coach and Vic Fangio. This is their press conference. You don't like what they're saying? Sorry. This is what you get with those guys. I think Vic's press conference was great. I think they were great. Hey, once again, folks, you see how people, once again, they don't like what they're hearing from the horse's mouth. From the horse's mouth. They think those are my words. They're not. They're not. Look at this. According to this dickhead, Steve, I wrote down all their comments. I'm not making this up. I listened to the entire interviews of Vic Fangio and Nick Sirianni. How am I making that up? Why? Because you want me to respond to some asshole reporter and his takeaway from what he heard? I don't do that. I have my own thoughts. I don't let anybody mislead me. Like the news misleads most of Americans today. I listen to the people themselves talking. Guy calls me a dickhead for quoting Vic Fangio and Nick Sirianni. There's a guy that don't like the truth. Shit, man. Steve, I know who you're voting for in the fall. Let's see here. I do like the fact that they're working on communication, okay, with the coaching staff up and down the line. That's good because a lot of new guys, okay, totally. Okay, look at Greg. You know we have truth issues in Philly. You said I was making excuses. For Prince, please, I'm sorry, man. I'm a little slow, Prince. You said I was making excuses. For the tackling and the quarterback not being live. No, you're right. No, you're right. You're right. There's something to that. But Prince, getting blown off the ball at the point of attack, that's got nothing to do with tackling. Not being able to cover Kenny Gainwell if you're a linebacker, that's nothing to do with tackling. You can't cover him. There's some truth to it. Okay? Look at this here. I'd sooner watch Sill's daughter box at the Olympics than watch preseason games. Well, unless she's fighting a dude. I'm going to leave that alone. Got more important things to talk about than somebody who's either a juicer or a dude. Pick one. Both are illegal. You know, somebody asked me about that. Sills, what about the Olympics and the dude beating up the chicks? I go, well, there's two things here. You suspend people for high levels of testosterone for juicing. If you're a racer or a shot putter, or the other one is they're a dude. Pick one. Both illegal. Juicer or a dude. I don't know. I don't think it's that hard. No pun intended. Working on chemistry right now. By the way, I liked how Nick did say this, that Gardner Johnson shot that he hit to cancel a meeting. That shit does matter. I think that stuff's pretty cool. I do that. I do dig that. I like it. I do. Vic says that, or excuse me, Nick says that Jalen Hurts is showing a lot of leadership signs. I think one thing that I will say about Jalen Hurts this offseason here, he has made it a priority to be front and center. And he's worked at it. We'll see when it's going to be tested. If he applies it when it matters the most, because he didn't do it when they needed it the most. A lot of people are getting wrapped up into practice. They were saying the same stuff last year. I'm not buying it. Show me in September. Absolutely. But what you want to see, disciple, kind of the format of what they're doing and how they're building and trying to get away from certain things that hurt them a year ago. Okay? Crowley goes like this. What leadership? Leadership in practicing what he fucked up on the OTAs and the mini camps, how atrocious he was. Speaking his mind. Offense is 95% new. Organization had a cow with it. Got their panties in a bind. Hurts didn't care. His attention to detail. Going out and practicing as hard as he does. All that's leadership, man. Leadership comes in different and different looks. It's not one thing on one shelf. Some of you want to put everything in a box. It's not true. Some guys lead differently. Derek Jeter. He led quietly. Gary Sheffield led with an iron fist. Some people approach it differently. Okay? It's practice, though. Get this. See this right here? Hey, Bob, tell Crowley why he's full of shit. It's practice, though. Show me the leadership in December. He's not wrong, but think about what he said here. Think about this. If you do things on a daily basis and you practice everything that you want to convey to your team every single day, getting water, going to meetings, talking to your teammates, and every single day you are applying what you want to have happen in December, it doesn't happen in December. It happens right now. All the things you want to have happen in December starts today. Right now. You think this shit's a switch? You gotta practice. If that's the case, why do the Eagles have practice? Just wait till September 6th. Go play a ball game. Why do you think you do the same play over 100 times? Why? Because you could turn a switch in December on? Sills, leadership starts now so that the team will follow when the bullets are flying. Amen, man. Amen. Jalen was a leader from the second he got to start. Hey, Andres, where was he the last 3 months of the season? Can you help me out? I must have missed that guy. He must have jumped off the boat. Sills, you was one of the one dog in Hurts' leadership skills, though. Yeah, I said he's working on them. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Marshall. Yeah, I just said he's worked on them. You can see it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Corporate DeJean. Missing a lot of time. Nick addressed it. trying to get back as quick as he can. But at the end of the day, he won't be ready to the bye to be an impact player. Gardner Johnson brought back the attitude and something that the team missed a year ago. Here, again, here's something here. Isn't it funny? Head football coach of your football team is singling out Zach Bond. They asked him about Gardner Johnson at his press conference Sunday. How about this one, Barb? And he was talking about how Gardner Johnson brings kind of like an attitude to the huddle and all that. He stopped a question he was answering to point out Zach Bond. What's that tell you? Hey, N'Kobe, you in trouble. You're in trouble, kid. I mean, if I were you, I'd start honing my skills up on punt return and punt coverage and kickoff coverage. Start getting some of the rules on these new kickoff things. Because you got a head coach identifying a guy who was a free agent over you in a presser. It's good shit. That's good shit. It's good stuff, man. Players talking. Gardner Johnson is hey, I don't know why I don't like this guy more. Told the media, shut the fuck up. No Bradbury questions. I'm a winner. Offense is doing a lot of new things, a lot more options. Vic's mentality in his scheme, no shit. Guy has no filter. None. I don't give a shit what you think of me, and I don't give a shit about you. He's talking to the media. Dude, I don't know how that goes over for snowflake media guys. But that kind of stuff right there, man, rub your ass the wrong way. I like that shit, actually. I dig that. I don't give a shit what you think about me, and I don't care about you. I don't care about you. I try, people try to get under my skin sometimes on Twitter, and I'm just like, sometimes I just tell them, hey, guy, some of the things that you've been saying for over a year, I'm just going to make a point to you, man. If you're hit by a bus, I don't care. I don't care. You're on my Twitter page talking shit. I don't care. You want to have a dialogue back and forth? I care. But if you want to just keep talking shit to me, I don't give a shit if you're hit by a bus. I don't care. And people in here, that doesn't apply to you. You know why? The people that talk shit to me in here come back every day. So that doesn't apply to you guys. Honest to God. That's why nobody gets blocked in here. It does not apply to you. Okay? So I want that to be clear. Same people who talk shit to me like Crowley or Twiz or Prince or LJ or whoever. That doesn't apply to you guys. Because you're here supporting us, and I could never say that to you. Okay? Want that clear. Zach Bond's a tough dude, he said. This guy, man, I tell you, I should be a little bit more, but I think it's hard for me because he's a Gator guy. I'll do my best when it comes to that. Vic Fangio, man. Holy shit. Is that guy a dose of reality? Here's who you are. Look at the way Nick Sirianni answers questions compared to Vic. No, he's not ready yet. Yeah, I don't want to answer that question. You're like, I want to hear more Vic. They only give him 15 minutes, too. I'll tell you what, man, his mentality is going to get that team ready on that side of the ball. And they are going to play the best guys. So let's, without further ado, guys been doing a really great job for Birds 365 and all the stuff they did over the weekend, man. They really had a great weekend. That was Xander and John McMullen. By the way, I want to say this about John McMullen and the job that he does. Tireless job, really great insight. He gives you a bird's eye view. It's one thing, some of the people that I know. And by the way, one of the storylines that we gave you at the top of the program, Shaquille Quarterman being added, was a Clint Hurt hire. Obviously recruited him for the University of Miami. He knew him. We all know him. So they recommended him to Vic. I think he's played in 63 ball games. And then they recommended him to Howie, and Howie signed him. Shows you the kind of impact Fangio has. Hey, I need this guy. So they went out and got Quarterman. Without further ado, one thing that JAKIB does, man, we give you a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. And here's our friend, Xander Krauss, co-host of Birds 365. He joins us. And great weekend, Xander.
Thank you, Sills. How you doing, brother? Good to be here.
Good.
What's going on, everybody in the chat?
From the weekend, or how about this, Xander? From post-Thursday, from Friday to today, give me your takeaway as they go into game week, as they take on the Ravens Friday.
Starting to get a little concerned on that defense, man. I mean, look, I know that it's camp and it's not, you're not going to sound an alarm or anything, but offense is torching these guys over and over and over again. Hurts is still just no interceptions. I think he's got 16 touchdowns through training camp here. I know it's just practice, but still, you want to see something from the defense. So I'm concerned that some of our fears, are going to be true when the season starts, that as great as Vic Fangio is, how good can you be when you don't have great players? And I think we have a lot of potential on the defense, but, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I'm going to call out some Big Sills bias I heard today, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they signed Shaquille Quarterman. I didn't hear who? I didn't hear nothing from Big Sills because this guy is a Miami guy. Big Sills, this guy is.
Are you suggesting that I'm biased towards the game?
Special teamer. He's never started a game in his life. He's got 30 tackles. This is his most tackles in a season. He's meh. He's meh.
Okay. How about this? He's played in more football games than the Kobe Dean has.
Oh, yeah, because I think I'm the Kobe Dean's biggest
Wait
fan,
a minute.
right?
Well, that's the platform we're working from. You're talking about, hey, I didn't tell you that Quarterman was some sort of Ray Lewis.
Nakobe Dean, Shaquille
this is
Quarterman,
where you are.
Same thing. Nakobe Dean, Shaquille Quarterman, whatever.
Okay, well, then let's put that into a nutshell then. You're signing a guy like that off the street, and you addressed your linebacking core in the offseason, and now you're signing a guy with 30 total tackles. Hey, Howie, awesome stuff here, man.
Yeah, the linebacker, that's my point.
Why didn't you get Peyton Wilson, like we said? Or how about the guy, I was the first guy to start barking, Edrin Cooper from A&M. Why don't you go get those guys? Both those dudes are starting on their respective teams now in Green Bay and in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. That was my point. It wasn't. I took a shot at you.
He's just taking a shit on UM because he was mad because I didn't see any Alabama guys go into the Hall of Fame over the weekend. I saw 2 Kane guys go in. How you doing? Bang! Yeah, baby!
And in a couple years, Alabama will have a bunch going in, and Miami will be in a 20-year drought of Hall of Famers, just like there are right now, because their football team has been non-existent for 20 years now.
Every year we put a guy in the Hall of Fame for the last 10 years.
Yeah,
that was our 11th.
They're all coming out of the golden age of Miami football, which is long gone, Big Sills. It's long
see
gone.
After this guy from
the Eagles won't sign a damn linebacker.
We'll see this guy from Saskatchewan, Canada, who's running now Alabama football, what that dude does down
Yeah,
there.
Big Cells, I'm with you on this, brother. I love Alabama, but I have no clue what this guy's going to be. Who knows what the hell's going on with
Hey,
Alabama
let's
football?
take a little bit away from what Vic is saying here. Dude, I love what he said when he goes like this. I'm sitting in the booth. I ain't got no one next to me. All position coaches, Xander, are going to be on the field. I don't want anybody telling me what the hell they're saying.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what I see. Dude,
Yeah.
this guy's giving you a reality check on what coaching is really about here. Again, this is really Jim Johnson stuff.
Yeah, and John had a good point. He's like, in the modern age, a lot of coaches use that time in between plays and on the field to that's how you build relationship with their players, or that's how you get input. That's how you get advice on what to do or what's happening out there. Vic don't give a crap about any of that. He doesn't care about relationships. He doesn't care about what your advice is. He's calling the defense how he sees it from the top, and it's great stuff. I think we do have a great coordinator, so I think our defense is going to be okay. But I'm a little concerned about that linebacker position, man. That's where I started. You heard Vic today. You need good inside linebackers to have a good, successful defense today. And they have to be more than just instinctive. They have to be able to cover. They have to be able to do a lot of stuff. And we don't really have that. We're kind of banking on, I don't know what, Devin White. I mean, I think Devin White will be our best linebacker, but will he be good enough? I don't know, so we're going to see. But defense is definitely a concern. But on the optimistic side of things, I think it's great what you're hearing from the offense, man. You bring in Kellen Moore, a new coordinator. He's switching things up a lot. And Jalen Hurts has looked lights out. You're hearing Devontae Smith's name a lot now, how good he looks. Nobody can cover him at practice. The Johnny Wilson, 6'6" Johnny Wilson, the rookie wideout, is making plays in the red zone. I mean, it's good signs on the offense. So they have a chance to be a really good team this year, at least on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that's the positive takeaway from camp so far.
Xander's new love child is Johnny Wilson. This is his boy, man. He wants to see him at wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
I'm with you. No, you're 6'6". I want to utilize the mismatch.
Well, remember, Big Sales, Jalen Hurts is 6'1", and we got the Great Wall of Philly. The Great Wall of Philly. So you have a 6'6", 6'7" wide out. That makes your life a lot easier as a quarterback when you got him going over the middle instead of, I don't know, Britton Covey, who's 5'7" on a good day. That's tough. That's tough to get him the ball over that line. So I think he brings a good dynamic to the offense that we haven't had in a little bit. He's young, he's fast, he runs routes really well. If you watch his college tape, he can catch the football, which is what you need him to do. It's not like I need him to be a big rep guy. I don't need you to catch, 100 passes. I need you to catch 20, and when they're throwing you, I need you to catch them all, unlike Queasy Watkins. So I like Johnny Wilson. You're right. He might be my new love child out of this rookie class.
How about this here, man? I thought this was interesting for a guy that just got the job. Xander, remember I told everyone when Vic got the job and how fast he got the job to be DC, I said, I heard that he had a lot of say on the personnel that was going to be brought in and the type of personnel that was going to be used. How about when they asked him the question, he goes, were you involved in the Gardner Johnson decision and coming back? He goes, yeah. At the end of the day, and he did it politically correct, he goes, it's Howie's call, but they did consult me on it. And I said, yeah, I think that's something that I wanted to have back there when it came to my defense. So that shows you right there. That coordinator, Desai, had none of that a year ago. That shows you a little bit on how much they're trusting him to fix that defense on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and I also think I think that's good GMing. I mean, what do you want to hire? Yeah.
Nope.
No, I know you're not ripping. I'm just giving a point. I mean, you don't want to hire a guy and then put the wrong players in his system. I mean, right? The best chance at having success in this league is to have coaches, players as one cohesive unit where it works. So I don't think they went over the top in signing guys for Vic Fangio, but Gardner Johnson was a good player and he fit. Okay, that makes him better than a guy who might have been a good player but didn't fit. So I like that. I think that's a good move by Howie to do that. And I think, by the way, that 3rd round draft pick, to me, that screamed of Vic Fangio. Guy's a former safety, playing the edge, can drop into coverage. Jalix Hunt, I thought that was a Vic Fangio pick through and through.
Could it be that our offense is just that good, or we really stink on defense, is trash? Is it a question that missed me out? Okay, how about this, Marshall? I'll say this to you. It's probably a little bit of both of what you're saying, that the offense is so good and the defense is trash. But I wouldn't go to say the word trash. I would say this. when you spend $200 million on the offensive side of the ball and you got that kind of skill set people on that side of the ball versus all the question marks you have on the other side of the ball, I mean, that's the result you should be getting. You know, you're not getting patted on the back for having a $200 million offense, and you're beating a defense on that side of the ball that's filled with draft choices and free agents and trades or people that you've made movement for. I mean, you should be ahead of that. So, I mean, am I supposed to give them totally a lot of love? The offense should be doing this. I mean, Xander,
I mean, Big Marshall.
I'm not going to give kudos to something that you should be killing an inexperienced defense for.
Well, listen, I hear you have a good point. You have a good objective perspective on that. But Big Marshall does ask a good question in terms of, listen, the offense is damn good. You know, is it as big of an indictment on the defense as we think? No. I understand. I think you're right. The offense should be winning. I think they're winning at a big rate right now. I mean, they haven't even been able to intercept Jalen Hurts in its practice. So I think the offense is further along than I thought they'd be, or at least better at this point than I thought they would be. So, but Big Marshall's a good question. Is that a huge knock on D? Is it as bad as we think? We're going to find out real quick, Big Marshall, because that week 1 game in Sao Paulo, Brazil versus the Packers, that's a good passing offense. So we're going to see real quick how good this defense is.
The problem that you see, though, Xander, is tackling angles, pursuit, not wrapping up. Now, look, you're not hitting and tackling, so that is a factor. But guys getting out of the backfield and you're not staying with them and stuff, and you're like not in a proper coverage angle, and it just looks like they're thinking so much on what their responsibilities are that they need reps. They need a ton of them. And by the way, this game on Friday, I'm going to give you guys a little insight because you're going to play the Ravens later in the year in week 12 or 13. You ain't going to see dick on Friday.
No, yeah, I agree. People are like,
you're not going to see anything that resembles anything because both teams too, Xander. Now, you're probably going to see some of the younger players from the Eagles playing in that ball game.
No, I think it's going to be the tale of two sides. Offense, nothing. You're not going to see a single starter on offense, I don't think. Maybe one of the young linemen. Maybe Becton, maybe Steen if he's back and healthy, which I don't think he will be, and maybe Cam Jurgens. No, but I'm talking about starters.
Okay.
I'm talking about starters only. You're not going to see any other starters on. You're not going to see the wide receiver. You'll see Johnny Wilson probably. You'll see the wide receiver 3 guys. No Devontae, no Smitty, no Goddard, no Hurts, no Barkley, probably no Gainwell, no Lane Johnson, no Mailata, no Dickerson. You know, I don't think any of that. So, but defense, you know, that's a position. There's a lot more questions there. So you could approach that differently where your starters are out there where let's get Devin White out there. Maybe not, but there's not as many set guys. The only guy who I think is a guaranteed sit on defense, a couple guys are Darius Slay, Jalen Carter, and they'll probably do Jordan Davis. I wouldn't agree with Jordan Davis, but I think they'll probably do Jordan Davis. And then Bryce Huff because they signed him to that big money, and probably Josh Sweat because he's got that injury. You don't want him to be, you know, getting unnecessary reps before the season. So, but guys like Quinyon Mitchell, guys like Isaiah Rodgers, guys like, now Cooper DeJean won't be back, but even Reed Blankenship. Now Gardner Johnson probably won't play.
Keely Ringo.
All the linebackers, I think, should at least be suited up. Keely Ringo, I think, will play. So I think it'll be a different story on defense, but I wouldn't expect much from our offense. It's going to be the Kenny Pickett, Tanner McKee show for sure.
And Kenny Gainwell, too, probably getting a lot of reps in that game.
I don't know. Kenny Gainwell might sit, man. They're using him a lot in the passing game.
They're high on him, too,
and
man.
John says he's getting more reps in the red zone passing game than Saquon is.
Wow. That says a lot there. By the way, guys, please hit the like button. We really appreciate
we're killing it today, dude. We're killing
Absolutely killing it today.
We have almost 400 watching on YouTube, a couple of hundred other more on our other platforms. The people are out, baby. Eagle season is almost here, and you can feel it on the channel.
One thing for sure that I heard Vic say, they're going to play a lot of single high safety. You know what that means, right? 10 yards off the ball, keep everything underneath. So, Xander, you know what people in Philly are going to be disappointed at? They're going to see a better hybrid version of Jonathan Gannon's defense that they saw in 22. So when you see a lot of guys with high percentages and completion percentage, guys with big numbers. This is all about Vic Fangio saying scoreboard. I think he's coming to the realization here a little bit. Hey, dude, got to keep him off the scoreboard.
Okay.
More so than statistics here. Guys are going to get their numbers early at least against this defense. Let's keep them off the scoreboard. Time of possession with our offense. That's why I think you're seeing, again, Shipley, Gainwell, Barkley. They're going to run it. They're going to screen it. They're going to do a lot of that stuff just to keep that defense off the field. So I think there's going to be a mentality going into that September 6th game against the Packers to try to win that. They win time of possession. Their chances of beating Green Bay, they go up massively.
All right. Well, here's the thing, because I think we have to balance, especially as fans, right? So this is, to the fans in the chat, obviously the fans of the Philadelphia Eagles, 90% probably of you are fans of the team. You got to balance what we want versus what works. Like you bring up Gannon, and a lot of people don't like Gannon. I'll tell you what, if we had Jonathan Gannon's defense last year and those numbers, we'd have been in the Super Bowl again. We were the number 2 ranked pass defense in the NFL. We had 70 sacks, and we marched all the way to the Super Bowl and came within an earshot of beating Mahomes and Reed. I get it. I'm not a huge fan of the style of defense either. But
isn't that today's NFL?
Exactly. And it's like, I don't want that, but I am also going to not be dumb and be like, it's what I want or bust. If it works and we can get to the number 2 or number 1 ranked pass defense in the NFL, which I don't think we're going to, but just going back to what Gannon had, shit, man, we're in a great spot. We shouldn't care too much about what we want over what works. If it works and we can get back to that, I'm all for it. And I think that's what we need. We need a defense that's viable to get us to win playoff games. That's what we need. We don't need 90s and 80s era Eagles football and defense. You just don't need it in today's NFL. We got to be great. We got to be better than we were last year. But Gannon, you bring up Gannon, shit, I'll take Gannon's defense all day right now.
If you're between 12 and 15 and your offense is even 8th, like you were a year ago, you're in the NFC title game.
Yeah, I agree.
You're in the NFC title game here. Xander, and I'm going down the list here. We've kind of already broached it a bit, but
wait, good take here by Bob. I'm going to bring it up real quick as we talk about him. Xander, Gannon put a good scheme together, but was not good with the situational stuff in red zone. Now, Bob, agreed. Will Vic Fangio be better situationally and in red zone? I believe he would be.
Yeah, me too.
So if we can replicate or be better than that defense, now I don't think you have as good of players, but if we can make that defense and then you're better situationally, better in the red zone, that's a big switch. That's a big adjustment. That could mean great things for our defense. But good point, Bob.
Do you know how hard it is to coach lesser players? It is so hard to try to find a guy. Like one thing here, let's just use Dean let's use him here. One thing he's done is he can blitz. Well, I can't use him that much except for maybe 5 plays a game. Him being a coordinator as good as he is, he's got to find those right 5 plays to utilize him. And that's harder to do than just go out there and have 3-down players. Hey, Xander, everybody wants a 3-down D lineman or a 3-down linebacker or a 3-down corner, 3-down. You want 3-down players. You know how many 3-down players the Eagles have right now? Probably 5 on defense.
Yeah, not many.
That's just not going to cut it, man. They have to totally get better. And when I make this comment, dude, it's the worst linebacking core in the league right now.
I know, it's bad. Outside of linebackers, though, Big Sills, where are you on the defense in terms of depth and like where do you think they're weak right now on the defensive side of the ball?
I think their rotation is weak. I think their defensive tackle rotation, I think they need a little more help there. And I am not sold right now, Xander, on the Eagles' defensive ends or their outside linebackers setting the edge with Bryce Huff and also with Nolan Smith. I mean, are you going to put Josh Sweat out there? I heard them talking about today, and I heard it for the first time on your show, Birds 365, when they said Vic was fooling around with a 6-man defensive line. That's called a wide tackle 6. That's an old Jerry Claiborne defensive scheme where that you're just going out all pressure. But what that does too, you have one backer in the middle. That's probably going to be Bond. And you're going to have your corners and safeties back there in a slot safety. You know the pressure you put on the second level and third level guys, if you don't get home, dude, they'll pitch and catch all day with you. So I don't know you're going to see a lot of that, but I think that I like the fact that he's trying to come up with ways on creating manufactured pressure with the talent that he has on the roster. He's thinking of, he's coming up with schemes. This is something Jim Johnson used to do. He's trying to create defenses to try to fit the personnel.
Yeah, did you hear on Sunday? I don't know if you caught our Sunday show. We did a quick Sunday recap of practice on Sunday. Vic Fangio had a 6-man front.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about with the wide tackle 6.
Okay, that's what
it's
that's
an
called.
Old Jerry Claiborne.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's tough to stop. Now it does open you up a little bit on the back end. If you don't get home, you might be screwed.
You're dead.
Yeah, but boy, I mean, I tell you what, I think to your point though, it's a good sign that he's willing to try these new things. And you brought up the DT position. I agree with you about the edges. I'm concerned. I mean, if Bryce Huff is not going to be, the type of player that we're hoping, then we are far too thin at the edge rusher. But I would encourage you to think about that DT room. I think that room is pretty good because I was with you. I was thinking add a guy, maybe a Cam Hayward or somebody to get that rotation. Apparently, Moro Ajomo, I know he's not, fourth stringer right now.
I don't need him to be a superstar. I need him to be a player.
Apparently, he has looked, and I got a beat reporter I really like, Andrew DeCecco, Inside the Birds, very smart football guy. He said he's been violent in practice, violent at the point of attack. He's a guy that could have good reps. And who's the guy? Milton Williams. You heard Vic Fangio talk about him today. I tried to trade for him when I was down in Miami. Howie wanted nothing to do with him. He's your third guy. So you have Jalen Carter, who I think is we all know how talented of a player he is. Jordan Davis, who it's time for him to take that step. We're all hoping he does. He still has to do it, but I think the talent lives within him. Then you have Milton Williams, maybe more with Jomo. I mean, that's a four, and you could probably slide Brandon Graham to the inside here and there. He's a versatile guy. I think DT's is okay. It's that edge that concerns me on the front. And, the back end is concerning a little bit, but I like the potential. I would have rather them did what they did and get the young corners and have to go through growing pains than go and patch that up with another 30-plus-year-old corner. So I'm good with the back end. But you're right. If the defense doesn't get home, it's going to make their life hell. It's going to make their life miserable.
Here's the problem that you have with not having professional safeties. And I'm not throwing Gardner Johnson in that. I'm talking about some of the other players that in the slot and also on the free that you're talking. And this is why with Justin Simmons, and hear me out on this. If your linebacking core sucks so bad, bro, you can't have both levels. One untested level back there, and your linebackers, once they get past that second level, you're in trouble, Xander.
Yeah.
I mean, your safety position right now, you see, like I said, the Eagle defense is a green apple on the tree right now. It needs to ripen. It needs to mature. And right now, that's a 3-month process for them to be able to see what they have. And Vic even said it. We're still shuffling the deck at linebacker right now. Yeah. And when you're hearing him say Isaiah Rodgers is getting the first crack at corner, I mean, bro, that's just saying to you right now that Quignon's not ready, which I told you because he's a young player. It's not unheard of. It's not a rip. But, and what you said also about today's NFL, bro, I don't have to have knockdown corners anymore. You can't do the hip drop tackle. You can barely hit these guys. This is more about covering deep. And that's why Rodgers might fit that style of defense and putting Quignon over in the slot. And your defense looks like this: Isaiah, Reed, CJ, and Slay. I think that's how that thing's looking and how it looks like it's going to unfold.
Yeah, I mean, that could work. The tough part about the defense is it all works together, right? I mean, if the linebackers are poor, exactly. I mean, it makes everything harder on the back end. If the linebackers suck, it makes it harder for the front to get home. If the front can't get home, the defensive backs are going to be struggling. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, we're going to see about this defense. Like I said when I started the show today, when I came on, I'm concerned about the defense. I really am. I know that we have a good offense, but there's a lot of question marks at that position, at that entire side of the football. I think we have the right guy calling it with Vic Fangio, or at least I feel good about that. with where we are at August 5th here, but we'll see. I mean, I don't want to get into another position where the defense is just so bad. You're not going to win a playoff game, So I think we'll be out of that territory, but they might need some fixing to do. They might need some duct tape and glue to get this thing to the finish line.
They'll not trade Hendrickson. He's still available. Martin, again, you're talking. Let's just go with Brian Burns. That's 2 and 5 and $20 million. Remember that, man. In the NFL, this is not recruiting off of rivals. There's a price tag to this shit. Okay, the equity of what you have on your roster. I know you have 27.7, but when you go to Duke Tobin in Cincinnati, he's going to hold you in a king's ransom to get somebody like that because they know that you might want an edge rusher. Well, you're going to have to surrender at minimum a 2 and 5 for a guy like that. And then you're going to have to sign a guy to a 3-year contract extension because Cincinnati is not going to do that. They're not going to give T. Higgins money, and they're not going to give him money. So they're going to move off those two dudes. That's what Cincinnati does. They've got zippers on their wallets with Mike Brown. But so that's going to cost you something. Howie giving up a 2 and 5 right now on August 5th is highly unlikely.
Yeah, I don't see it. But I mean, listen, they're going to need to invest in this defense a little bit more than they have. Now, maybe it won't come this year. You started to see it now look, they have invested in the defense. We would be lying to say they haven't. They spent 2 first-round picks on defensive tackles, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. They just spent a first on, and the first 2 picks of this draft with, a first-rounder Quinyon and Cooper. But these guys all have to develop, and the patchwork on the other parts of the defense is where I think, we're low, and that's the linebackers.
Talk to him, Xander, talk to him. When you're talking about going that route and draft choices, that's a 2-3 year process in developing. That's not a 2-3 month process. These guys are going to be really good over the next 2-3 years. You know how many times you land on a Sauce Gardner or Patrick Surtain? The Eagles have not in 25 years, but they're not alone. No, they're not alone. I mean, nobody lands on corners.
I'll tell you what's not a 2-year, 3-year process is Jalen Carter. That is like landing on a Sauce Gardner. He's that good. So
yes,
but you're right. All the other ones, I mean, look, we got to see on Quinyon Mitchell. I don't expect him to be Sauce Gardner in year 1. I don't.
Love Reed, but he does not need to start. I'd put Cooper DeJean opposite of CJ. I'm going to tell you, Marshall, I don't think Cooper's going to be ready until the bye.
Yeah, and I don't
I'm not talking about him being available. I'm talking about him being an impact on your team.
Marshall, I don't see them wanting to put him at safety, man. I think they want a cornerback. It's a more valuable position, at least from the Eagles' perspective. They value that position more. I think they want him at cornerback. I don't think they're going to put him at safety. I know he can play it. I know he's versatile. I know he's got that skill set, and everybody talks about how great that is. I just don't see them putting him at safety. I really don't. But I mean, I get why you say it, Marsh. I mean, I understand why you say it. But look, this team likes Reed Blankenship. I know a lot of fans don't. Eagles like Reed Blankenship. John says that he's not here being talking about him. And look at what they did. They didn't need to go and pick up that futures contract that he had. They picked up next year's contract for him. So, forget the words, follow the actions. They like Reed Blankenship.
Juergens getting hurt concerns me 2 years in now. Juergens got hurt?
He got banged up a little bit today at the end of practice. So
I
haven't heard yet.
Now you got Steen and Juergens and Landon.
So Landon was back today. Landon was back today.
Okay, good.
Steen was back in he was limited, but he was back in pads. Juergens went down. Look, we don't know yet. All right. I don't think it was big. I don't think it was serious with Juergens. It might have been something as simple as a cramp. It was the end of practice. I think we're good. I'm going to get the update though for anybody looking though on that. I will give that update with Johnny Mack tonight on our special edition of Birds 365, our nighttime edition, which will be 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. So if you're interested in all the injury updates, I'll get John. I'm sure he's been prodding all day to try and figure out what happened there. So I will get all the injury updates, and we'll give you an update on Cam Juergens for sure. I wouldn't be too worried about it though.
Are you concerned though with the depth of the O-line?
Yeah, I think, and the Eagles, like I just said, forget what somebody says, watch what they do. I mean, the Eagles, I think they're concerned. I mean, they bring in the Hennessy guy, they bring in, Brett Toth, and they're still signing. They signed Max Sharping. Then they added another dude last week. I can't even I can't even remember the guy's name who they added last week. They just continue to add guys to that room, and it's one of two things: the guys in the depth they don't like, and they're not looking good in practice, or one of these injuries is worse than they're letting on people believe. Whether it's Dickerson or Steen. Now they were back out there, so I don't think it's that. But I don't think they're very happy with. I don't think Stoutland's very happy with what he's seeing from guys like Matt Hennessy and Brett Toth and some of these other backup guys. Even the young guy, Trevor Keegan. I know he's a rookie, but maybe they thought he would be more of a plug and play ready guy, at least in a backup role this year. I don't think they're seeing that. So I wouldn't say I'm concerned about it because we have Jeff Stoutland, and for the last 12 years, we've had a top 10 O-line every single year. So I got to give him the benefit of the doubt based on that alone. But do I feel a little bit worse about him right now than I did in years past? I'd say yes. You got to remember, we also lost Jason Kelce. I know I'm excited for Cam Jurgens, I think he's going to be a great player too, but you don't just replace a Hall of Fame type of player that easily. And by the way, this wasn't just a guy who gave physical attributes to the game. He did a lot more for that offense. He called out defenses, called out blitzes, did a lot. He manned that offensive line. He was the leader of that entire group last year. Is Cam Jurgens going to be that? We hope. I mean, we don't know yet. So I don't want to underestimate the loss of Jason Kelce. I think that's a big one. So, like I said, I'm confident in the offensive line, but I'm not like I was last year or 2 years ago. That's for sure.
Boy, I'll tell you something, man. Now we're a couple years removed, and I'll keep reiterating it. But the loss of Isaac Seumalo and TJ and Kaiser, Kaiser is the perfect kind of player that you're talking about. If you like Reed Blankenship type players, here's a guy here that you have to have on your ball team, Xander, that got you 120 tackles, was a solid ball player, wasn't a superstar football player, but was functional in what he did with your defense, that you guys were so good in pass coverage too, and all the things that he did. And now, get this, I saw a story over the weekend that Edwards is considered one of the top 8 linebackers inside in the league now. And you fucking let the top 8 linebacker go?
Yeah.
I mean, man,
that's
just
the one that got away.
Failure.
Yeah. Epps, Eduardo brings up Epps, Marcus Epps. Yeah, but we did okay at least. Not last year. You're right. We had terrible safety play last year. We brought in Kevin Byard, and he was flat out terrible. He was like a Robert Quinn all over again, except he was on the field more, so it hurt more. But hey, listen, man, I gotta talk to the people in the chat, Big Sills. They've been blocking people, man. We gotta stop. If you're a moderator, no blocking, folks.
No
Come
blocking.
On. Our man Perez, where is he at?
Get that wrench taken from you. Don't block anybody in here.
Perez has like 4 different accounts, and my man was blocked on all of them. He's got Mr. Perez. He dropped a super chat. I think this is Martin Perez. I think that's him. He's got Perez 717. Quit blocking my man Perez. All right, man?
Yeah, man. No way, man. Nobody gets blocked in here, man. I don't block a soul. I don't give wrenches out, and I don't block anybody. Okay? Because I don't want anybody thinking that I run from somebody. What do you think? I'm a person that runs from debates? Oh, wait. I won't say anymore. Okay. So let's move on here. Hey, dog.
You don't want that. Big Stars, you don't want that work again, brother.
What's that?
You don't want that work again.
No.
I
don't. Nor do I care.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't want to work that hard. Hang on here. How about this? Hey, dude. Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff. SOS. SOS.
Nah, no one's not been SOS. Bryce Huff, SOS. Bryce Huff, SOS. Nolan Smith has showed some flashes. I've heard some good things. I talked to John. He said he's not. Now, remember, they're not using him in that top role, but when he gets out there, he does look better. He's built into his NFL body a little bit more. And the one thing I think that's positive I'm hearing about Nolan Smith is his pass rush moves are a lot more polished. His fundamental play on the line looks a lot better. So I think that's a positive thing. You saw him last year. He didn't have much of that. So I don't want to say SOS on him, but he was a first round pick. I also am not going to just give him, excuses forever. He's got to be a guy, that contributes to the team this year. But Bryce Huff, man, I haven't heard much of anything on him, and what I did hear was it hasn't been great. So, look, he's gonna. I'll give him at least until the games are played. I'm not gonna put him on the milk carton yet. But yeah, I'm a little concerned on Bryce Huff. I got to be honest.
Boy, this guy used a ski mask when he came in to rob the Eagles.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Hey, let's say, all right, no, come on, it's Big Sales. It's August 5th. All right.
I know, and I haven't heard his name in 2 weeks.
All right. What were we saying about camp last year on August 5th? Do you ever remember the takes that you made on August 5th of any NFL season? It's inconsequential. When the season comes, we'll know a lot more about Bryce Huff.
I think pretty much everything I've been saying about your defense, Vic's been echoing. Have I not? Wait, what? I've been telling you every
What do you want? A cookie? You want me to bake you a cookie, dude?
What I love about this is, hey, just because, look, I got a little bit of, inside here, everything. I love the fact that Vic just quantifies everything I said. How you doing, Vic? I think it's got something to do with being a Paisan.
Maybe it does.
Okay.
It's Miami.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, hey, Big Marshall, we love you, brother.
Marsh, appreciate you, bro.
Hey, dude, what do you think of a couple more here, Xander? Don't forget also, we got Angelo Cataldi.
Oh, yeah, shoot.
At the bottom at 4:30.
Flex, you say no one blocked him. I unblocked him today on the channel, my guy. Come on. Don't play with me, Flex. Flex, I love you, bro. Don't play with me.
Sills loves being right and hates being wrong. That's not true, Andreas, because you know why? It's not cool saying this. Nakobe Dean sucks. I don't wish that on anybody. I do not. It doesn't help the Eagles. It doesn't help the kid. That's not what I'm hoping for. I do not root for failure. That's not. I actually root more for me being wrong like Lamar Jackson. I couldn't have been more wrong about a guy than what that guy did. Okay?
And let's see. Okay? Let's see. I love Lamar Jackson. Great player. But you got to win in this league. Okay? You got to win in this league. It's the same conversation I had with Dak Prescott. You got to win in this league.
Okay, wait a minute. If you're drafting a player, you're drafting Jalen over him?
I didn't say that.
I know. I'm asking a question. If you were going to draft one player or two players between these two, Jalen or Lamar, who are you taking?
Jalen or Lamar? I might take Jalen Hurts. I really might. Listen, let me look up Lamar Jackson's playoff stats here.
Oh,
I don't believe he's been great. Yeah. Passer rating is 75-7 with 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions in 6 games.
So you think Jalen Hurts is a better player than Lamar Jackson?
I didn't say that. It's
you
the same.
You take him.
Do you want to go back to the same debate we just had?
Wait a minute. No, I'm asking you, who's a better ball player?
Lamar Jackson is a more talented football player and is a more talented athlete. Yes, Lamar Jackson has more talent. Is that everything? No, it's not everything. Jalen Hurts has proven he's a winner.
Right, that's exactly. I'm wrong more than you know, guy. You kidding me?
Joe is married. He's used to being wrong.
Hey, you don't know how true that freaking.
I'm not even married, and even I know that,
dude. Absolutely, I'm never writing this bitch. Hey, what are you making of Mekhi Becton, man? I want him to win that right guard spot.
Yeah, look, me too. He's a big boy, man. And he's played.
Can he stay healthy?
Can he stay healthy? But can he play right guard on a
Yep.
Remember, this isn't, you're playing versus NFL interior linemen. You're going to play against some mean mother effers in there, and he's been every year of his career, literally back to when he was basically a child, high school. He's been a tackle. He's a tackle through and through.
Drafted out of Louisville, being a tackle.
It's not as easy to move to guard, I think, as people think.
Amen.
It's a hard switch.
Yep.
He's a big boy, and you're a big boy, Big Sills. Big boys like their space. He doesn't have that space. He's working in those confines of the line.
Traffic.
I think it's a little different. That's all I'm saying.
No, you have to have better feet in there.
You have to have better feet. You have to be a little bit more agile. You have to be more balanced because you don't have that. You can't get that leg out with that wide stance. I think it's a different position. So, listen, I like Becton. I think he is going to win the job, but I think he's got a little bit of a ways to go from Stoutland to to get up to speed if we think he's going to be like some, all pro right guard. I don't think he's going to be that. I think he's going to be good, but I'm curious to see how it plays out for sure.
Guys, two last questions for Xander here. We're going to have Angelo Cataldi at the bottom of the hour. Please hit the like button. So let me give you a little bit of this before we go here. Told the media to shut the fuck up. I'm not talking about Bradbury. I don't give a shit about you, and you don't give a shit about me. I'm a winner. I mean, hey, I got to hand it to CJ Gardner-Johnson, man. This guy got up front of that microphone, man. He commanded the room. He told them where they were going, and he went just like this to end the interview. Thank you, guys. See you. Bob Lane didn't even get a chance to pull the hook on him. He just said, I'm out. I mean,
yeah.
Do you like it or not?
Listen, I like it. I love it. But here's the thing with it. You got to be a contributor on the football field this year. This is a guy who played 2-3 games last year, So I get it. I love it.
Put the bullseye bigger on you.
Well, and right, look. I mean, if you want to be a leader on a football team of grown men making millions of dollars, these are professionals. This isn't college. These are guys making a lot of money to play this game. When you take on a leadership role, I forget who it was. It was a former player. I don't know if it was. I don't think it was Gary Cubb. I think it was either Phil Simms or Boomer Esiason, one of your guys. He said the best way to lead in this league is to play. If you play up to your abilities in this league, you will naturally be a leader. People will gravitate toward you. If you don't, it's going to be in one ear out the other. So it's one thing to rip the guys on defense for not making a play in practice or in a game when you're one of the best safeties in the league. When you're on IR in week 3, they ain't going to listen to you no more. So that's all I'll say. Look, I like it though. I love the fire. And he's right about the comment of, we used to drool over these kind of guys, these type of leaders, Sean Taylor's, the guys he brought up, the guy you brought up, Sean Taylor, he's right about that. Media loves to we're a softer generation now. We're in a softer era of the world. And I think that's where he gets a lot of shit, but I think he's good.
It makes me think about Big Sills. Maybe that's kind of, how I communicate with folks. I'm a little sharper than what a lot of people can handle there. By the way, are you one of those guys like ESP2 giving Nick his flowers for staying out of the way? He's had a good camp. He's had a good camp because you know what? Hey, just one thing though. Hey, Nick, shut the fuck up with your answers, man. Make them more concise. Holy shit, dude.
I still can't listen to Nick.
I can't.
Dude,
I'm
doing a show over the weekend and I'm supposed to cover the Nick thing. And I put it on. I'm like, all right, let me hear what Nick has to say. And I'm like, God, man, I can barely listen to this. I have to listen to this guy for work. And I still can barely listen to the guy. So I just don't look, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt this year. I want to see what he's able to do, but no, I'm not giving him a crown on August 5th, just like I'm not going to say he's failed on August 5th. I'm not going either way. I'm still neutral on Nick. I'd like to see what he does this year, though, as the season rolls on.
Here's the official award for Jalen Hurts for not throwing a pick, and ESP saying that he's on pace to.
Oh wait, no, that was the Dak Prescott trophy.
Oh wait, we got another one then.
Okay. Oh, okay.
This one's the Vaseline.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought that was the
Vaseline for Jalen.
The Vapo rub. You got the Vapo rub. I got my
for all you Jalen Hurts lovers, here's the Vaseline for you.
I thought I recognized that other trophy as the regular season Dak Prescott Passer Award that Big Sills loves to give out every other week. Good Lord.
What's on tap tonight? I'm hearing that we are going to have a special Birds 365 tonight.
Yes, sir. 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. Birds 365 will be live. Johnny Mack will be in. I'll be grilling him on what he saw today down at camp. He is our eyes and ears of the network. We try and, we don't want to just give you hearsay. When I do my recap, sometimes I'm just reading reports and I tell everybody that John is out there. John is there. He sees it. He hears it. He listens to it. He watches it. So we're going to get his take on what he's seen today. We got it a little bit on yesterday, but it wasn't a long show. So we'll dive into where we are as we head into week 3 here of camp. Preseason game coming up Friday. So should be a lot of stuff to talk to John about tonight, including his calf. We'll get an update on how his calf's doing, Sam.
Oh, man, he's doing it wounded. Very good. That's right after the program. Angelo Cataldi at the bottom of the show. We got you covered here. Xander, where are we in the likes right now, brother?
I don't know. Prince, where we at, brother? 183. Pretty good like number where we are right now. I love that. 183.
Come on, hit the like button there, guys. We appreciate it. We'd like to go into the final hour with about 220 and try to get to that 300 again. We'll see you after the program, Xander. See you also. Are you gonna be back in the morning as well?
No, we have a night show 3 days. So
that's
Monday,
right, because
Tuesday,
it's 4
Wednesday.
days in a week, right?
Exactly.
It's four days in a row, I mean.
Yeah. All right. Prince wants new requirements for wrenches. All right, Prince. I'll start by removing your wrench. How's that, big dog? All right, brother?
All right, guys. We appreciate it. Hit the like button. Keep it here. Thanks a lot, Xander.
Thanks, big.
You got it. Keep it here. National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Appreciate you guys coming aboard. We're going to get Angelo Cataldi with us here at the bottom of the hour. Get his thoughts on what he's seeing and what he's hearing with the Philadelphia Eagles. A little bit of media stuff going on in Philadelphia as well. We will talk with him. No question about it. You're ramping up now as you get ready for the exhibition season. I don't know why you have an exhibition game versus a team you're going to play in the regular season, especially when they're out of the conference in the AFC. That's a weird scheduling issue that you have on Friday playing the Ravens. And I think it's either week 12 or 13 you're going to be playing the Ravens. Okay, I don't know. But to me, it's weird. You're probably not going to get a lot of work. So Kyle just says that Joey Bosa is injured again. Kyle, that's why the Chargers want to get off that guy. They want out of that because he is so often injured. He's a good football player. He gets around the horn. He's a good pass rusher, but his availability has definitely been questioned on how often he is. Yeah, Crowley, I don't get why the Baltimore Ravens are on your exhibition season when you're going to play them in 12 and 13. You're going to get very little work, in my opinion, on Friday, unless you're working your backup guys. I mean, I'd like to play a team. At least I can get some players out there because I'm not going to show the Ravens anything of what I've got, especially what I'm going to do early part of the season. You know what I mean? I mean, it just doesn't make sense there. So Vic referenced by some Bill Campbell and Harry Callis today. I saw that. Yale, he gave kudos in his press conference to Merrill Reese being given the Pete Rozelle Broadcasting Award at the Hall of Fame this past weekend. And Merrill was there and all of that, and no question about it. You know, it's funny. When we get Angelo on, I'll ask him about Merrill Reese and his place when it comes to broadcasting in Philadelphia. Prince, that's great. Guys, please hit the like button. We're at 201 right now, trying to get to 215 and maybe even north of 250 for us to be able to get up to that great 300 number, man. That'd be really great. Crowley says, I think the defense should play. I really do. I doubt they will, though. Hey, Crowley, I don't know why you wouldn't. You know, the comment that I had and I made last week about Caleb Williams. Why is Caleb Williams being held out for the Chicago Bears? Don't you want to see this guy? He hasn't played since last November. And you keep him out of an exhibition game? I mean, you should have played that. You need to, if anything, the Chicago Bears have to play. They have to play their quarterback. You got to find out what you got. I want to find out right away. Okay, I do. You better start first string for a series or James Jones. I don't know if I'm going to put my two D tackles in there, but I want that entire linebacking core, and I want that entire back end playing. I got to try to see what's the one thing that Phil Simms, he said this a year ago about exhibition football. You got to remember something about exhibition football. Those are high quality reps that you're going to get. You're not going to get them anywhere else, right, Yale? Exhibition football, it's not regular season, but it's better than anything you'll see in practice. Those controlled scrimmages, anything that you do when you do something like you did last Thursday, that's how you get your football team better. That's how for you to become a really good football team. Okay? For you to become a really good football team, your guys have to play football. Angelo Cataldi is going to join us at the bottom of the hour here. Who's doing the JAKIB post game? Now Xander's doing. Hey, Twiz, I'm not sure yet. We'll get that to you. Should be a lot of fun. I believe playing a bit in these games is essential. Hey, Jack, you know what I don't get? Patrick Mahomes plays an exhibition football, and so does a lot of players and those frontline guys. Mahomes plays preseason football. Brady used to play preseason football. Okay? I mean, those guys all played preseason football. Okay? So you want to get your frontline guys as many quality reps as possible when you're talking about getting your guys ready. So, you know, I mean, I want to see that, and I want to see those guys get ready here. One thing, a lot of things were said that were really great, I thought, from the players and coaches. Who was the other guy that spoke? Devontae. Let me get into Devontae. Man, I like him. Here's Devontae Smith. Devontae spoke on Sunday. You know, here's a guy that says more with his play than he does with his voice. And you love that in a player. Devontae leads by his actions. He says he lets his play and what he does on the field speak for things that, if someone looks at his game, it's all about how he plays. He said right now, you know what he's working on? You know what really, when you hear him say this, Yale, they asked him a question on what he's working on. I had never heard a player say this. Devontae goes, you know what I'm working on? I'm working on my player IQ. What? Expand. Yeah, recognizing things. He has now evolved from play, ability, routes, conditioning. He wants to see the game like Brady. He wants to see his position like, and he values everything he does when he's on the field. He said something about the play not coming to his side. He goes, to me, that means I'm doing my job. If the play's not coming to me, it's my responsibility to make that play look like it is. He takes every rep and he looks at his player IQ. And he's developing that. You rarely hear people say, again, it's nothing to do with academic smarts. It's everything to do with football smarts. He wants to get better and smarter. That's the kind of talk Brady had. Brady would play those war games with, Belichick, situational football. I think that's kind of what he's talking about, is football IQ. Yeah. He's working on the mental part of the game. Very rarely do you hear a player acknowledge that and say, yeah, for me, it's about going out and improving my football IQ. And Watcher, it's a professional. He is a ready-made pro. He is, without a doubt, one of the absolutely best things that organization has done in the last 10, 15 years. Man, what a great pick. And I questioned the pick because I didn't think he could last. Talk about exceeding expectations. I mean, always come in and make sure that I sit there and I'm doing stuff, whatever they need. How about this? He says that he's been working out more in the slot and that it's different down in the slot. There's more traffic. And I think that's kind of some of the stuff he's talking about when he's working on his game inside and he's working on the traffic inside. Because you're talking about linebackers, you're talking about safeties and corners and slot safeties. It's a whole different area than being out in space on the Y and Z and on the numbers than it is when you're in the slot. There's just more traffic that you have to maneuver around, which means your routes aren't going to be smooth routes. You got to find the open zone. And that's something, again, I think that just helps both AJ and him become better receivers playing in that slot position. Got to give that to Kellen Moore because that's expanding their game when you do that. Okay? That was the trend in the Southeastern Conference. Okay. And that's what Welker did, Barb. That sounds right. The more you can do, and that's what he said also, the more you can do, he tells players this all the time, the more valuable you become. He said something too about Quinyon Mitchell, hadn't really gone against him. He said that, I ran a route against him. This was on Sunday. And he said that my route was trash. And he started laughing because he was jawing with me a little bit. I actually like that both Devontae Smith because Devontae comes off to me like a no shit guy. You know what I'm saying? He comes off to me like he's a no shit type of dude. So I think that, to me, I think it's pretty cool that both A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are in a position where these guys are allowing him, Quinyon Mitchell, to be himself and have his own character out there. I like it. Hit the like button, guys. We're efforting our friend Angelo Cataldi here. Smitty also, he said something about, they asked him the difference between Isaiah Rodgers and Keely Ringo. And I think what he said is exactly what pretty much everyone else has said. Isaiah Rodgers, you're seeing a guy with great speed. He's more instinctive. He has an understanding of the cornerback position. Keely Ringo is more of a physical guy. And that's the difference between the two. And that's why I say right now, if I had to pick, and I had to pick, I would say that I think you're going to have Isaiah Rodgers. I think you're going to have Reed Blankenship, CJ, and I think you're going to start the season with Slay. I think that's what they're rolling towards. Okay? I think that's exactly what they're rolling towards in that secondary, for them to be able to put that all together back there. And then you're going to work on your depth. What's the one thing you notice, though, when you see that? They're experienced guys, and they're not any of the really super young guys. I think Quinyon Mitchell, one of the reasons why they want to get him on the field is obviously because of his athleticism. So that's where I'm at with him. So I like that, what they're saying here. I'm sorry you put Devontae in the slot too. I'm sorry you put Devontae in the slot too much. He will get killed and injured. Too small. Getting hurt in the middle of the field is different than the sidelines. It's true. It's absolutely true. Okay, there's no question about it that there's more traffic. That's why by the way, I don't think that's going to be a massive trend by putting him down there in the slot. I think AJ fits the slot a little bit better. Sills, Rodgers, Ringo, Mitchell is our future. Yeah, African surf, but that's not your present. That's not your present right now. And I think that's exactly what Vic Fangio is talking. That's not your present. I haven't watched Rodgers much, but he has top reviews when he did play. Yeah, what we're hearing, obviously. Remember what I said last week about getting guys ready to play. And I said this to you guys. Vic Fangio is not going to play because you were drafted in the third round, and your cornerback in the first round is going to start because he was drafted in the first round. That's not how he's going to play this. He's going to play this with people he trusts. He doesn't trust Quinyon Mitchell yet. That will get better by more playing time. Seals, will Quinyon Mitchell be able to handle Lamb in the slot? I don't know. Again, I think maybe Cooper DeJean handles that a lot better than what he would do in the slot. I have a feeling they won't motion AJ as much as Smitty, simply due to the fact that when AJ doesn't motion, he gets gassed after running long distances. I could be wrong. Sam, I would say this to you about putting AJ in motion. To your point, you're talking about a guy who's going to get a lot of targets. And I'm with you on that. I'm not going to put a guy who's going to get a shitload of targets in a ton of situations where you're going to sit here and you're going to try to gas the guy. So absolutely, I think you're correct. Slot receivers be short, but they are stocky like Welker, like you're saying. KC Eagle, what's your thoughts on Johnny Wilson and Britton Covey sharing duties with the slot, Campbell, Ross, etc.? I personally don't think you really have wide receiver 3. I know Johnny Mitchell's getting some red zone stuff. And I love the fact of the mismatch, the 6'3" stuff. So I totally like that. But I don't know you have wide receiver 3 on your football team right now. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button here. Sills, does Howie Roseman make the move for a Judon next week? That's got to be somebody high on their list. But here's what New England's looking at. Why would I trade with a team that's going to be trading down between 25 and 32? Okay, I mean, they might want to trade with somebody that's not as good and send him to a place where they're going to get return on investment. So, not sure. Dan, would you trade Jordan Davis in a second for Via Veda and re-sign Milton Williams? I wouldn't trade Jordan Davis. Vita Vea's had health issues. Okay? They have he's got health issues. They are. Hey, Xander, do me a favor. Send the link to Computer Problems. Send link to his email if you can again, please. Okay. And then maybe if it can't work there, maybe what we'll do is we'll use his phone. So let's see if we can do that. Yeah. So again, Angelo just sent me an email or a text. So email him first and email him or phone. See if we can make that happen. Till then, it's you and me. So it's all good. A lot of stuff this weekend here. Just saw Ayuk traded to the Steelers on Twitter. Holy cow, is that great. Nick, is that real? Is that real, Nick? Wow. So the Steelers got Pickens now and Ayuk. That's a pretty good looking attack. Now you got Najee Harris running the football too. That's pretty damn impressive there. I mean, the Steelers are trying to get back into the offensive game plan here. So we'll see. Let's see if that thing turns out to be true, because I find that really hard to believe that the 49ers would end up moving Brandon Ayuk when they're this close to winning a Super Bowl. So maybe Niner all day. If you're in here, you tell us a little bit. Nobody has verified Ayuk to Pittsburgh. Okay, let's keep an eyeball on that here. A lot of fake news out there. Imagine if they turn Wilson into a guy that's as physical as AJ. Having two guys like that on the field, a big problem. I tell you what, too, Sam, if you're able to get something like that done, just think how enormous your football team is. When you're talking about your O-line, you got wide receivers with that kind of size and how big they are. Your tight end is big. They need respectable quarterback play this year. Dude, I think Justin Fields is going to take that job the way it's sounding in Pittsburgh from Russell Wilson. So far, people are saying that he's having a great camp. How about this? There was a fight there in the Pittsburgh practice. Every single one of the offensive linemen and all the players rushed to his side to defend him. Okay? 85 goes, Dan, I just saw that Brock Purdy has thrown 9 interceptions in 10 days. I don't give a shit about that. Last year, Dak Prescott threw a boatload of interceptions in practice, and he only threw 9 picks last year. Really, are you going to really do that? Let's wait and see when they get on the football field. So, yeah, let's wait and see till they end up getting on the football field. Is that Russell Wilson? I think Russell Wilson him being out has given Justin Fields the opportunity to succeed here. I find that really a pretty tough move for the 49ers if they are trading Brandon Ayuk. Niners keeping Ayuk, going to trade Debo. Less money, younger player. That's where I would go, Troy. Okay? That's where I would go. I'm going to wait and see before we make that thing any more of a serious conversation to Ayuk to Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh and New England were the two teams because they want to get him out of the NFC, and they don't really want to do any trading with an NFC team. They'd like to get him into the AFC where they don't have to see him for a conference title. So, yeah, trade confirmation. Yes, it did happen. Ricky, that is really a shocker to the Niners. I'd like to know what they got back in return, the 49ers for Ayuk, because Ayuk is their best blocker in open space. So yeah, that would be a shocker. Seals, can the Eagles get a second-round pick or a starting caliber player for Isaiah Rodgers? He's generating interest. Madness. They need all the help they can get back there. Why would you want to trade a starting corner and a young starting corner? You waited a year for him. Would you really want to sit there? Hey, Quinyon Mitchell's going to get a job one day as one of your cornerbacks, either one or two. So you would have Isaiah Rodgers and Quinyon Mitchell as your starting corners, and then you could have Cooper DeJean playing in your slot. I mean, you're talking about being young and good. Niner all day. Damn, it is true. Ayuk to Pittsburgh. Wow. That's a shocker. John Lynch would do that. I mean, they're this close. They're this close to winning the Super Bowl. That's a pretty tough deal. It really is. It's a pretty tough deal. You know, I got to tell you, man. Boy, you talk about organizations that love to control narratives. I saw this guy, ESP, Elliot Spitzer, Pauly Shore guy, tweet out, Nick Sirianni's going to have, and he's having a great camp. So I'm going to thank a guy for not robbing the bank, for doing his gig. Is that right? Hey, Nick, congratulations. You stayed out of the way. Come again? So that's what we're doing here? I'm congratulating a guy for staying out of the way. When you're a CEO or you're a leader, dude, you're front and center in the room. You imagine saying about Bill Belichick or any of the other coaches in the league like Mike Tomlin? Hey, Mike, I'm glad you're not saying shit. Just stay over to the side and we're going to be good. Only in Philly can you have this. Nick, thanks. Don't say nothing. Just be quiet, and do those bullshit answers that you have at the press conference. By the way, Angelo and I are big Italian talkers. We get it. That's kind of our job. Nick, shut up at those press conferences. It's nauseating. Answer like this. I'm on to Cincinnati. Next. Answer like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Holy Madonna me. Those of you out there, that's swearing in Italian. Jose, Madonna me. Okay. Angelo, let's bring him up. The man, the myth, the legend, the owner of the Bible. Madonna me is kind of like swearing in Italian to all the folks out there. Angelo, thank you so much, my friend.
I'm sorry. First of all, I am as computer illiterate as anyone you'll ever see in your life. And I was also waylaid because I was rolling 100 meatballs with my wife. See, in retirement now, she gives me the big blob of meat, and then I have to roll them up. And I had to do like 100 of these things. And I said, maybe I should go back to radio. This is terrible.
Hold on. Let me ask you this. Hold on. Do you use Italian bread in the meatball?
Oh, God, yeah. Oh.
So wait. So you get the Italian bread. You got the parsley. You got the one egg. You got, you've got the cheese you put in there. You roll them up. You fry them. Then what you do is you dump them in the sauce. See, what people don't get, Olive Garden doesn't do that. Okay? That's not an Italian restaurant. What he's doing right now with gabardines and spaghetti, making the sauce, that to me is exactly. Angelo, that actually sounds pretty inviting there, man. You must have your own recipe.
It's got a couple of cheeses in there. It's got beef. It's got veal. It's got pork. It's a recipe literally from the old country. And it is a beautiful. That's a spicy meatball.
Okay, with all that saying there, you got the right recipe. Do the Eagles have the right recipe in 2024 to go to the NFC Championship game?
I just heard you saying how Nick, one of these moron media people said Nick's having a great camp. What the hell? You know why he's having a great camp? I know why the offenses look good. I saw what the defense did last year. Oh, yeah. I think I could drive them down for a TD in the final minutes myself. No, yeah, come on. You know, this is the thing. It's all now that I'm out of it and not producing my own level of manure as it before the first game. My God, it's all useless stuff. Useless. We don't know how they look until they play another team in a real game. And that's not going to happen until they get to Brazil. So give me a break. None of this is of any significance. I told you the only thing you need to watch for in the preseason is whether Sirianni, in the midst of his brilliant camp, will actually try to play some starters in the preseason to see if they're off the schneid from losing 6 out of 7. That's what you got to see. And if he doesn't, then he's still taking orders from the boys upstairs.
Let me ask you something here about Vic Fangio. Do you think that that's going to be a problem between the owner and the general manager? I mean, and here's where I'm going with this, Angelo. When you're asking him, hey, you know that move that Howie made for Bryce Huff? Yeah, the guy ain't ready. He's not a 3-down lineman. He can't play. He struggles tackling. He struggles covering. And I'm going, you spent $18 million on the guy. What do you mean he's struggling? And when you're hearing him go, Nakobe Dean's not getting, that's a 3rd rounder. You know how they are in that organization. If Howie puts the equity in drafting, you're playing that guy. This looks like a Jim Johnson type guy. Could there be conflict with this?
Oh, I think there already is. I read something today from Fangio that was definitely not out of the playbook of general manager Howie Roseman. Fangio said, you can't have an effective defense if you don't have good inside linebackers, right? Howie Roseman hasn't given a damn about linebackers in 10 years. And if this is what the defensive coordinator is saying, he's not in sync with what the thinking has been philosophically of the people creating that roster. And you're seeing it. And by the way, Fangio is right. You need linebackers. You can't ignore that position because you see what happens. Tight ends are wide open. Running backs are running amok out of the backfield on pass routes. You can't do it that way. But Howie's never believed that Fangio does. And here's the other thing. Fangio's been around. Fangio's not going to listen to that crap if things aren't going right. He is going to get off the basic, the yes man philosophy that this Eagles organization demands. These are going to be an issue there for sure. For sure.
Angelo, get what he said yesterday or today, this morning in the press conference. They asked him, hey, you're going to be calling games from the booth. He goes, yeah, and all position coaches will be on the sidelines. And someone goes, why? He goes, well, because I don't want somebody telling me what they saw. I want to see it, and I'll make the call, and I'll translate it to the D-line coach, the secondary coach, the LB coach. Nobody's going to tell me what I'm looking at, and I'm going to make the call. And I went, oh, wait a minute here. That's an organization by committee. That's not something you have one head rooster in the hen house that's making all that stuff like that. That's why, again, I mean, I can't wait to see that dynamic and how that works out. Now, maybe Vic is going to have more autonomy than Kellen is going to have when it comes to running that side of the ball. But boy, it is evident. It's evident, Angelo, that guy is running his own ship over there.
Yeah. Now, there's one thing I want to push back on that you said. Please do not use Vic Fangio's name in the same sentence as Jim Johnson. Vic Fangio was in Miami for 1 year, and when he said he wanted to leave to come to Philly, they got him a limo. Said, hurry up, we'll get you there right away. I'm surprised they didn't charter a flight for him. They were not dying to keep Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio, in his wildest imagination, is not close to Jim Johnson. Jim Johnson was a great defensive coordinator.
Yes, he was.
Vic Fangio, the thing is, This mediocre coordinator is going to be pushing back at these guys, Roseman and Lurie, who think they invented football. This is not a healthy situation.
Can you please tell me, if you were still doing Morning Drive on WIP, what would be the first question that you would ask? And I'm going to give you three guys.
Yep.
What would be the one question and your first question to ask Nick Sirianni?
Nick Sirianni. Nick, did you basically sell the farm to hold your job? Did you basically tell your bosses, I'll do whatever you need me to do? And my follow-up question would be, Nick, you're not coaching the offense. You're not coaching the defense. You're not coaching the special teams. What the hell are you actually in charge of? And don't tell me you're a CEO, because from what my read of this is, if the offensive coordinator wants to do something, he's going to do it. Defensive coordinator, he's definitely going to do it. You don't actually have the power to overrule them, do you? And then if he says he does, I'll go, well, then how come you couldn't figure out what the hell happened last year in the final 7 games? Why would we as a fan base think you have now figured it out if you still have this power? No, I would literally attempt to get him to admit that he at least traded some power to save his own neck, because he did. And it's your job as an interviewer to get the question put together right so he acknowledges it. I don't know if he would, but I would try.
What would be the first question you would ask Howie Roseman?
Right. Howie, if Vic Fangio or Kellen Moore are doing something that they believe in, but you don't, how are you going to work that out? Notice it there, I've kept Sirianni completely out of the equation because he doesn't have any power. I would go, what are you going to do? Because the guys before, Steichen and Gannon, or the losers they had last year, they didn't have any gravitas to push back. They had to do that what they were told. But these guys were brought in to save this administration, to save Sirianni. What if the guys upstairs don't agree? Don't you want to know how that plays out? Because that's going to happen sometime in the course of the year. In the course of the year, either Fangio's philosophy on linebackers doesn't jive with what happens with Roseman. Somewhere along the way, there's going to be a disagreement, and somebody's going to put their foot down. Who's going to do that? Roseman? Lurie? Fangio? Moore? One of them is going to be tension there, and the guy in the middle is a yes man.
So are you saying there's no leader? There's no leadership in the coaching staff then?
Well,
or are there too many leaders or too many voices?
You got co-coaches. Moore and Fangio.
Co-coaches.
All right? They're co-coaches. Sirianni has no power. Sirianni can't tell Moore, this is what you're going to do. When Sirianni, in the last game, the playoff game, couldn't figure out how to coach his offense enough to prevent 10 blitzers to come in on Hurts unmolested. That guy, we know, doesn't know what he's doing. He acknowledged it the first year he was here when he immediately gave up play calling duties. He said to Steichen, you're better at it, you do it. He's acknowledging his own weakness. Now he's going to assert himself? This guy was brought in, Moore was brought in to save Sirianni's job.
Man, co-coaches. So we have 3 head football coaches now in the Philadelphia Eagle locker room now. You've got Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio, and Nick Sirianni, and they all three. Actually, the other 2 got more power than Nick.
No, Michael Clay is the third. He's got special teams. Sirianni has nothing.
Who's got more power? Wait, Angelo, who's got more power? Big Dom or Nick?
Equal. Equal. Now, what I saw, though, is apparently Jalen Hurts stole Big Dom's cart, and he was riding around training camp. See, I still read this stuff. I know what's going on.
I know you do.
So maybe Big Dom, if Big Dom gets angry at Hurts, maybe Big Dom is going to assert more power than Sirianni has. I don't know.
How many times did you interview Jeffrey Lurie when you were doing mornings?
Once. 20, almost 30 years ago.
When he first got the team.
First time he comes in, he just buys the team. He's still making money. We're doing a radiothon for Eagles Fly for Leukemia. It was the last year because he was creating his own charity at that point. And he showed up at Suburban Station. We were doing a remote broadcast from there to raise money for the radiothon. And he showed up and he did 45 minutes. Questions, people coming through the train station, one-on-one, asking the owner questions. I can remember after he left, I went, never in the history of this city have we seen fans have this kind of access to the owner of a franchise. This is great. And at the big moment there, he goes, these fans of mine, they're my compadres. It was so beautiful, right? Then like 2 or 3 weeks later, I ripped him for something. Over. I was put on, like Richard Nixon used to have, I was on the enemies list. Right? Within a couple of years, he was writing letters to Paul Tagliabue to get me booted off the WIP morning show staff because I was so critical and they were the flagship station. It's all in the book. It's all in the Bible.
Holy cow.
It's all in there. It's all in there.
Get to that. Paul Tagliabue. He wrote Roselle.
He wrote that Paul Tagliabue said, before our next big contract with CBS comes up, CBS owned us then. Could you please take a look at what they're doing down here at WIP Radio, our flagship? Here's the irony of the story there. So he's so upset with us. He's trying to get me fired, right? Then the next time it comes up for bid, the negotiations for the rights to the Eagles, WIP outbid all the other people. I don't know what they bid. And boy, he couldn't wait to take that high bid.
They're paying $3.5 now. They're paying $3.5 now to broadcast Eagle games.
Yes. The broadcast, we broadcast Eagle games for most of the years I was there. And I ripped him every time he needed to be ripped, I ripped him. And I wouldn't stop now either. I would have that thing he did. Let me tell you how different sports radio is in Philadelphia now than it was 18 months ago when I was there. That thing he did where his team tanked the way they did, they fell apart, they choked at the end of the season. And the next day he went to St. Martin to buy a new yacht. That would be stuck to him now like a leech. I would have made that. I would have called him Eagles owner and yachtsman Jeff Lurie, right? I would have made it part of his identity because what he did was utter disrespect for the fan base. It was saying, I know you're in pain, but I'm a billionaire and I deserve another yacht. And I'm telling you, Dan, the fact that played out without a ripple, without anybody making a big thing of it, tells you how different sports radio is in Philadelphia than it was 2 years ago.
Robin Leach, Jeffrey Lurie. I never thought I'd make the correlation between the two.
Joe Conklin bit.
Hey, okay, I have to ask this. What did you make of the fact that Howard Eskin survived it and he's back doing shows on the air? He basically told people, shut the hell up. I'm not answering anything. I thought it was Gardner Johnson behind a microphone saying, hey, I'm not answering any of this. They put him on and it just walked away from the whole thing. And I got to think that the political maybe landscape, Angelo kind of covered it up. Nobody really made any Me Too kind of stuff, but just your take on how he survived that, where most people 95% of the time do not survive that.
Whether he survives it totally is still to be said. He hasn't been in public exposed to the fan base. That will happen when he's on the sideline for an Eagles game. I hope they don't. That's not the place for what's going on, but I've seen the fan base when they are target someone. And, I don't know what they're going to do behind the bench. I know this. They handled it wrong. It will not go away. They could have made it go away. They didn't. They ran away from the story. You don't do that in Philadelphia. It's that simple. Dan, they disrespected the city and their own fan base and their listener base when they said, we're not going to talk about our scandal, but we'll talk about every other one. The next time there's an issue in sports, and there are always issues in sports. Always. You're going to talk about those. Is that okay? Can I call on that? Is that all right? I just can't talk about when it's yours, when it's you. Well, you're a hypocrite, and you're not doing what's right by the fans of Philadelphia. You got to talk about it.
You know, Angelo, I've always believed that a sports talk show is everything. It's not just about sports. Things come up good and bad. I mean, you and I, especially you, obviously. I mean, I've been on the air 35 years. I mean, have I had all great moments? No. Have I had great moments? I've had it all. But to me, they're experience so that I can convey, hey, I did this and I said this a couple of years back. This was the wrong thing to do. Hey, but guess what? I understood what the problem is. You come from a place of experience, so your audience will look at you and go, well, at least he's coming from a place of failure, success, what have you. You can't come from a place of hiding under a desk.
No. Now, it's funny. A year ago, right around this time a year ago, my old friend Keith Jones, who became president of the Flyers, invited me to go to a special meeting of all the front office people from the Flyers. And Danny Briere, the GM, was there. Dan Helferty, the owner of the franchise, he was there from Comcast. They were all there. And I'm doing this little thing, and I go, the next time anybody in this organization, when asked a question by the media, says no comment, replace those words with screw you, because that's what you're saying to your fan base. They're paying money. They've got an emotional investment in your team, and you're not giving them the information you want for your own privacy, your own reasons. It's usually not good enough. If it's a pending legal case, if there's something going on, I get it, right? But 90% of the time, no comment is screw you. So we got about 3 minutes later, Dan, right? Something comes up, and somebody asks a question of Briere, and Briere looks around in the room and he goes, no comment. It was the funniest thing. He was just playing around, right?
Yeah.
It was like, I got it. Now, I don't know if they're more open now. I don't know how. All I could tell you is this. The more open you are in the city of Philadelphia, the more you make your private life public, the more they will embrace you. And the fact that they can't understand that. I know who runs that station. Rod Lakin runs a station at WIP.
Yep.
And Rod Lakin understands you have to talk about this stuff. I know David Yagaroff, who's above him. I think he gets it too. So I know that this decision came from the legal side, not the on-air side, because the lawyers will say, don't talk. You know why the lawyers will say that, Dan? Because they don't know a damn thing about how to do a radio show. That's why. So they'll always do what they tell any client. Oh, no, they'll talk to them. The cops bring you in, they'll talk to them. It's not the same thing. You got to talk to them in Philadelphia.
Two last comments here. Mike Missinelli going back on the air. You know, just your take on him. I know, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's a former Inquirer guy like yourself. And also he started at IP, been on a long time. Joe Bell, who whatever you think of him, obviously did not run that station. He's actually run the Fanatic into the toilet. Now they got new management, new general manager, new market manager in there. So I get it. Just Mike going back on the air. What's your take on him?
I love Mike. I have tremendous respect for him. He's a phenomenal talk show host. All I can tell you is I've talked to him a number of times since I wouldn't have done it. And the reason I wouldn't have done it is they disrespected him. Yeah, they're going to get rid of him. Fine. Let him have a last show. Let him say goodbye. He had a good tenure there at that station. Don't do that. He did a lot of podcast work, did a lot of stuff a couple of years ago. If Mike wants to write his last chapter by going back there, more power to him. I wouldn't have done it because I don't like the way they've run that station anymore than I like the decisions that my old station made about Howard Eskin, right? Mike deserves better than that. Mike is a big time sports talker in our city, and you don't treat a guy like that. Now, I'm amazed that he agreed to do that, let alone be on middays when he is. If there's a prime time radio guy in Philadelphia, it's Mike Missinelli. He's doing middays over there. They should reassess their lineup. Let's look at it that way. And I love John Kincaid. I'm not saying he should take mornings, all right? I'm saying Mike should have at least gotten his afternoon show back.
Absolutely. I got to ask you this here, man, and maybe, you don't, maybe you're going to give me a Daniel Briere no comment on this, but, when I listened to you when I was a kid and I used to go down to Wildwood, and that WIP was just off the charts with great personalities, comments. I mean, sometimes you would go, whoa, wow, they're saying that? It was so compelling. WIP today, 18 months. Is it a completely different station than it was when you were there than it is right now? Are you disappointed? Do you like it? How do you look at that station?
I'm definitely disappointed that they have not given Rhea Hughes the role on the morning show that I gave her. She's phenomenal. She's incredible. Her takes are fascinating and interesting. She has the best.
Why do you think that is, Angelo?
They didn't want it to sound the same. It's the same reason that so many of the callers that were regulars on my show are not welcome on their show, like Eagle Shirley and Arsenoni and the people that were characters on the show. I get that. When I took over for Brookie, I didn't want it to sound like Tom Brookshire's show. It has to be different, but you also have to assess what you're looking at. Look, the whole sports media market in Philadelphia now is softer than it has been in the 40 years I've lived here. It's so soft now. The media coverage, the newspaper coverage, with the exception of Jeff McClain and Marcus Hayes. There's a few guys still hanging on, but most of them now are just, what do you want me to write? What can I say that will please you? That kind of stuff. It's not the way I did it. But Dan, the truth is, the real truth, and I'm coming to terms with this myself, is they're not doing it wrong. If I was still there, I would be doing it wrong, because I'm not even sure the fan base wants what you heard when you were going to Wildwood before. I don't know. They're giving ovations to players who hit 220, like Trey Turner last year, stuff like that. The fan base is different now. I represent an era that's no longer there.
What's
right?
that? Telling the truth?
You are looking here. I'm a T-Rex.
Yeah, but
dinosaur.
Angelo, telling the truth to people is never a time capsule. It's not something that you put in a time capsule. My problem with today's listener or today's lawyers and shit, to me, this comes down to most people today would rather be lied to than told the truth. But the truth to me is sometimes what makes it, that's what's compelling in sports talk. Hey, you and me have been wrong more than we've been right on the air, but we had an opinion about it. That's debate. Debate's gone. I mean, I find this to be a problem with the truth, more so than just you and me being called
Great
fossils.
way to look at it. I never looked at it that way, but I guess their truth is different than our truth. They will look at this Eagles team and they will go, wow.
It's a Super Bowl team, and you and I look at the defense and go, dude, your defense is going to get you killed this year in every game you're in. They don't see that. And I'm going like,
that's what I would think. But they're not going to say that. They're not. It's not good business to do that, Dan. If I were to come on the air and say the things I've said on your show, on my own show, I would got 5-win team. Yeah, there'd be a lot of fun debate. They'd be calling me names. They'd be angry at me. I've also downplayed how good I think the Phillies are this year. It's easier for me to do in retirement. It was when I was there every day. I still would have done it. I'm not sure I would have done it as loudly as I've done it with you, because I don't have a horse in the race anymore. I'm out to pasture. To
don't you
extend
think
the metaphor?
Don't you think they've disrespected your legacy? You're right. Hey, Angelo, don't you think they've disrespected your legacy there at that morning
no,
that morning
not
shit?
At all. Not at all. I don't believe that for a second. I think when you leave, Dan, your legacy leaves with you. They're not going to go, bring everybody in and go, all right, we want you to be, all of you, we need you to be prima donnas the way Cataldi was when he was here. We need you to ignore our advice and our directives and do whatever the hell you want. Nobody's doing that. When I left, there was a quote in the paper 2 weeks later. Oh, finally, there's no more eggshells on the floor. You know, like they had to walk on eggshells when I was there because I was an 800-pound gorilla. No, if I were them, I would say, all right, that jerk is gone now. Let's try to behave ourselves.
I don't have a problem with King Kong being in the room.
Believe me, I'm not guilt-free here. I'm not guilt-free here. I was hard to handle on and off the air.
I don't have a problem.
Wow, check it out.
I don't have a problem with King Kong in the room, man. I don't. I want to do this last one here. I'm watching Embiid at the Olympics. Angelo, he sucks so bad in Paris. Dude, when I watch the rest of those players and I watch him play, I'm like watching Jabbar running up the floor. I mean, it just doesn't fit. Maybe I know the court's different, and I get it all. The rules are a little bit different, but man, does he look out of place next to those stars on the floor.
I don't know if there's the first or the second game out there when he couldn't practice the day before because of an illness. And I said to my wife, I went, nobody who's 30 years old gets sick as much as Joel Embiid, especially when there's a practice schedule. You know, I'm telling you, Dan, it's even a little more evident when you see it in a different setting. He's got the talent. He's smart. I don't think he's got the heart. Yep. I still think he's lacking the heart. And I think you're going to see that. And I think they'll win the gold medal. They're so much better than everybody else. Come on. LeBron has amazed me. He still looks like he's got a lot left.
He's 39, and he's the best player on the floor. It's crazy.
Isn't it? It's amazing to see.
Yep.
He seems to want it more than the other guys. I know he wants it more than Embiid.
You were right about the Phillies bullpen once again melting down as it always has. This goes back post-Charlie Manuel. That organization, for whatever reason, man, they got away from building in the minor league system down in Clearwater those arms that they used to put out there for the bullpen. I mean, this is another bullpen issue, man. I mean, you can't win a World Series with a guy hitting 212 and 38 homers. I don't think you can, man.
Dan, I said this, this wasn't popular, but I knew I was right. I've watched a lot of baseball this year, and that team was profiting from the single easiest schedule I had ever seen the first half of the year. The past 3 weeks, they played good teams, and they've gotten their asses kicked. They've lost 6 series in a row, something like that. And it's like, they're not as good as you think they are. They're not bad. Wheeler is a stud. I love Wheeler, all right? The kid they got from the Angels looks like he might be a nice addition as a closer. But they got a lot of streaky hitters. And you're right, there's a lot of bullpen guys you can't trust. No, I don't see it. I don't see it this year either. I wish I did, but I don't. I hope I'm wrong. I would have been wrong many times before.
Yeah. I'm gonna send your wife, because I don't know if she has this. I'm gonna send her a recipe for pizza frite. I don't know do you like pizza frite?
Yes, but if you said meatball, I was going to say I'm never coming back on.
No. Everyone
is the finest meatball ever made.
Oh my God, my grandma who had this same kind of recipe, and I went over to. Unfortunately, my wife, she's not Italian, which is all right, but that's what my family says. She's like, "Honey, you're not Italian. That's all right." So her mom made a meatball, and I'm like, I'm not eating that. And she goes like this, "You have to." I go, "I'm not eating that." She goes, "You have to." So I eat this American meatball thing, and I go, "I'm eating it." And she goes, "Isn't it good?" I go, "Oh, hey, just like Subway." It tastes like, she's like, "Subway." I go, "It's like a Subway meatball." I go, "I'm going to show you what real meatballs are, man. I'll show you what a fried meatball looks like." Angelo, folks, the book, it's also in audio. The blog, I went there today. I saw it. He's destroying the media people. He's telling you the truth about Jalen Hurts. It's all on.
And I ripped the Olympics. I killed the Olympics.
Over what issue?
Oh, well, I covered them in '88, and I got to see it from up close. It's corrupt, it's outrageous, and it's phony TV show. If you're going to watch it, understand for every champion out there, there's 10 people whose dreams are getting trounced by bureaucracy.
Boy, I'll tell you this, Angelo, and I'll say this to you about what's going on and what I don't like what NBC's doing. So NBC's not addressing the whole boxing mess. And for them not addressing that, my issue with that whole thing is this. Here's the problem you have. If a sprinter comes up with high testosterone, let's just go there. He's automatically suspended from that event, just like Ben Johnson when you were talking about being suspended. Well, if you're you're either a dude or you're a juicer. Pick one. They're both illegal, but you'll be okay with a political agenda to ruin a dream. And then you have Title IX that's out there. Why have women's sports? I mean, I don't like the politics that are being implemented here, that atrocious open that they had, thinking that they were just going to take a crap on one religion like that. I mean, there's so many good things about the Olympics, but I'll tell you, Angelo, from 36 to 72 to what we're seeing right now, that organization sometimes doesn't get it.
It's not what you're seeing on TV. I would not even agree with you that there's a lot of great going on in the Olympics. What's going on is the TV show. That's what it is. It's not real. It's fake.
Whatever happened to when you and me were watching like Munich, or we were watching Montreal, and it was live, and you were watching live drama, not canned drama. It's manufactured drama. The Olympics are no longer what you and I used to watch that made that thing. You know, who got me into broadcasting was Jim McKay. He lived next door to me, and he was one of my Sean McManus I grew up with, and I grew up with the McManuses, Jim McKay. And Jim McKay never called an NFL game. He never called an NBA game. He never called a Major League Baseball World Series. He called the Olympics and Wide World, and that's what made him. And I think he'd be spinning in his grave if he saw what the Olympics has turned into right now.
He would. It wasn't all that pure then. If you remember 1972, the Russians, or what happened there, it was bad then too. It goes all the way back. It's been corrupt for half a century, all right? Maybe even before that. All I know is I got to cover it for a month in Korea in 1988.
So you were there for Ben Johnson.
I was there for all of that. I was there when they stole a kid's dream. I had spent a lot of time with this boxer, Anthony Hembrick.
Oh,
and it turned out to be a good pro, but it was his whole dream. His whole life was to be on the Olympic team. He was in the Army, as part of the Army team. He went there, and his coach told him what time to be at the ring, and he showed up 12 minutes late, and he was facing a South Korean boxer, and the South Korean boxer, it was in South Korea, and they told the kid, "You're screwed. You're done.
You're DQ'd."
They DQ'd him, and it destroyed the kid. I was there for it, and they could have so easily rescheduled the bout, and they said no. This kid would have beaten a South Korean kid. South Korean kid moves on, and I watched it, and I watched what they did to that kid, and I saw what happened at the Karoli Ranch because I covered women's gymnastics, and I saw the corruptness of what was going on there from the inside. A lot of this is bad. I'm just telling you.
Angelo, could you talk like this? Could you talk like this and bring these topics up on WIP today?
No, I wouldn't have brought them up then.
Would you be called into the PD's office if you're talking about the transgender boxing?
No one gives a damn about the Olympics. It's football. The training camp's open. I wouldn't be talking about the Olympics for 1 second. Not for 1 second.
Even in a political year.
I talk right now. Here's what I would do. Formula right now. 80% Eagles, 20% Phillies. All right? Soon, 100% Eagles. The Eagles run this city and this state, and it will never be any different. If I was talking the Olympics soon, I would be talking to myself because I wouldn't have a job.
Angelo, You had a job for all those years, and you were sensational, and you are officially my mentor here. Folks, get the book. You can go to the blog. His opinion still speaks. He doesn't think so. But every time I see a quote from Angelo, it's all over the internet. Angelo said this. Angelo said that. Now he's been reduced to being a meatball maker. Remember, pasta vazul or gabardines. Tell your wife. Hey, thank you, Angelo. I appreciate it.
I gotta go roll some more meatballs, Danny. Take care, my friend.
Angelo. All right, hit the like button. Where in the world are we at? See, you can't get shit like that anywhere else but here, man. You guys are all not all of you, man. Some of you guys are snowflakes. You couldn't handle the bullshit. That's why, man, JAKIB Sports, how you doing? We're going to reset here. How about the Mets? They any good? The Mets. Slagger, stop talking Mets and Jets. They're nobodies. Okay? We're going to reset. 233 likes. We are almost at 250. Andreas, Angelo's a meatball eater. What's wrong with that? You racist. Hey, Andreas, you're a racist. You're an anti-meatball hater. How dare you, you racist? You hate meatball eaters? I'm a meatball eater. You're a racist, Andreas. How dare you? And you even had a vowel at the end of your name. What is going on? Andreas, I'm so disappointed in you. Oh, thank you, Barb. Of course. Love me a meatball. Anti-dentite. Look at her pulling a Seinfeld reference. How you doing? How you doing? Hey, look at JM, man. JM's been here giving me shit for 4 hours. That's why I'd never in a million years will JM ever be thrown off our program. That ain't happening. Not happening. I could swim with meatballs if the gravy's right. Oh, stop doing that. When you guys start talking the gravy like that, okay, makes my mouth water. Between my aunt and my wife's meatballs, kind of fits a little bit. Seals knows vowels. Hey, oh. Hey, so wait a minute. Is the Ayuk trade real? Seals would open a sports bar and be the chef. If he wasn't in sports. Oh, it'd be an Italian restaurant too, by the way. All Italian grub. Pizza, thin crust. Okay. I didn't mean that was. I'm kidding, Andres. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your greenhouse? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sills National Football Show. Hey, guys, how far are we away from 250 likes? Where are we to 250 today? I appreciate you guys coming aboard here on this Football Monday. It's going to be a big week here. Tomorrow, Gary Cobb will join us. Jimmy Johnson's going to join us this week. Boomer Esiason, and so is Phil Simms going to join us this week. So we look forward to those guys jumping aboard with us. Yo, Sills, you got any recommendations for Italian food in L.A.? No. Well, dude, I like the Palm. Okay? The Palm is probably the best. They got a bunch of Italian dishes on their menu. The Palm's my favorite restaurant of all time. That is my favorite restaurant. My favorite Italian pizza place is Colony. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Bet text me. I think it's on Myrtle Avenue in Stanford down at the Cove. So I would say that that I love, that's my favorite pie. Okay. West Coast Italian food is terrible. Yes. Hate the Cowboys. Love Jimmy. Of course. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. We're going to reset here in a second, but I want to do something because the NFL.com came out with their top 10 players, and I want to give you my list on that, but I do want to throw this out. Here's Andy Reid again. So now he's brought in John Gruden as a consultant to the Kansas City Chiefs. So you've signed Matt Araiza, and you brought in John Gruden as a consultant. I'll tell you something about Andy Reid, man. When you build that kind of equity up and that gravitas where you can just talk to anybody and nobody's going to give you shit, that it must be so rewarding that you can just do anything you feel like it. And the Hunt family is cool with it. Man, I love that. It's so smart. You're right, Brian. Nobody in their right mind brings John Gruden in. Why are you bringing a racist in? Andy Reid is. No one's saying a shitting thing about it. No one's saying anything. Andy Reid's helping him, actually. You know, it would not shock me in the next 3 years if Andy ends up helping get John Gruden back into the NFL. I don't know if he'll ever be a head coach, doubtful. But he might get a coordinating job again. He might get one. He might get a coordinating job. There's too many people in the NFL that like him. 252. Way to go, guys. Andreas says Gruden isn't racist. No, he's not. But Andreas, here's the problem. You can't have emails that have misconduct conversations on them. You can't. There's too many African-American players that aren't going to take that as a joke. White guys saying black jokes doesn't go over well. Black guys saying things about white guys, it's not a big deal. White guys saying things about black guys is not going to go over well. 90% of the room is going to think it's funny. But that 110%, just like Twitter, are not going to think it's cool. They're going to make an issue out of it. And that 10% is the people that brand you a racist. Think about that. 18% of the people in the world are on X. That's not the majority or even half of the world in their opinion. 18%. I mean, JM, I'm with you, man. I think John Gruden's not a racist. I know him very well. Okay, I do. I know him very well. He's up. But you can't have that shit out there, dude. Listen, and I'll make this point to you guys. I mean, you just can't have that kind of conversation with black players on your roster. You just can't do it, dude. Hey, Sills, 2 likes from me, one from my cell phone and one from my TV. Sam, dude, 2 thank yous from Big Sills. That's right. You can say whatever you want. Just be prepared to get the beats by Dre. Man, racist and a bigot are 2 different things. Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. Chip, let me ask you something. Do you think you could say a racist thing in your life and not be a racist? I did. You know what I mean? I did. You know? Poor choice of words, I'll say. Okay? Love of my house Seals is trending that shallow racist water. Right? Right? Yeah, you could say something racist, not be a racist. Okay? Racists are people like don't want to serve you in a restaurant or hire an inferior person because they're white over a black guy. That's racist. That's, to me, racism. Okay, not giving equal opportunity to everybody in the world. That's racism to me. Everybody should have the same bite of the apple. That's racism. If you're denying one side or the other. Sills, it's not what you say. It's who you say it to. Yeah. Or you realize sometimes some of the things you say, Kyle. Hey, how about this? Kyle, you know what? You know, my biggest problem was for me when I came on to being a broadcaster was that I had still locker room conversation talk where I could talk to my black teammates and they would rip me a new one and call me a honky. And I'd turn around and I'd look at them and say something to them about going, what would you know about being a honky, man? You hate every white guy on the planet. And it wouldn't be true. But we would try to get under each other's skin. And I mean, hey, I'll give you a great Jerome Brown story to this. We're sitting, by the way, I talked to Butch Davis. He's going to come on next week. Guy who found Sean Taylor, Ray Lewis, all them guys, is going to talk to you about Quinyon Mitchell. He loves him, and he'll be on next week. Jerome used to say this in a locker room filled with white guys and black guys. We had this guy on our team, Derwin Jones, who I love to death, Big Cat. You say Big Cat today, somebody might call you a racist. This guy wore those terry cloth shorts. You remember back in the day you had those terry cloth shorts, right? So Jerome and I's locker were right next to one another. So we're sitting and he looked over at Derwin and he goes, damn, Derwin, you're so black, you're gray. Everyone in the place started laughing their ass off. He goes, I'm going to start calling you Gray. And you're sitting there and you're listening to this, and Jerome looks over at me and he goes, look at that motherfucker, man. He's gray. That's gray. That ain't black. Damn, dog. And you're going like, no way in the world are you going to be able to talk like that in public and say things like that in public with a bunch of white guys in the room, black guys in the room. Man, my Miami locker room was one of the greatest places on the planet. Unfortunately, I took some of that stuff and I talked like that a little bit too much on the air, and nobody knew how to receive it. So I got it. It was my fault. Okay. Hey, Prince, funny shit, man. Jerome's like, man, you ain't black. You're gray. I mean, look at you. You're like, he goes, them terry cloth shorts too, dog. What's up with that? Like my bathing towel. Hilarious. I mean, just hilarious. I have faced racism. I was at a Pizza Hut and they didn't want to serve me because of my race. Michael, that's terrible. Hey, Michael, I'll give you a great lesson. I was told and taught from Michael Irvin. I've told some of this to you. Hey, Prince, I told some of you this story before. So night before I get gas, we had this thing called, it was a Duster. Remember them old cars, the Duster? So I got gas 11:30 at night. Nobody said anything. Michael Irvin goes, let's go get some gas. So we went and got gas. Michael goes, okay, I'm going to pump. Michael Irvin goes, guy went. Michael Irvin looked over at me and he went, how come he turned the thing on for you? He sees you in the car. How come he doesn't turn the pump on for me? I got to go in and pay. I never thought about how simple that is for white folks versus black folks. And right there, it opened my eyes. Damn, the simplest things for us are not for everyone. Right there, I learned a lesson. You can't talk for black folks. They don't see the world like you. And the world don't see you like them. That's why my education on being in the Miami Hurricane locker room was the greatest of all time. Made me a man, actually. That was Michael and all them guys, man. Great. Dan, I was called a white devil for staying too long at a Chinese buffet. That's racist and fat shaming. I agree. The big sales at them old beefsteak Charlie's. Remember where they used to have the shrimp all you can eat? Don't ever let Big Sills back in the day into an all you can eat, because it's over. Or like, you go to Vegas, Atlantic City, and you got them buffets. You pay for one time. Shit. I got 3 rolls in me, man. 1, sit back. 2, sit back, cool out. Bang. Another 1, 3. I'll hit that bitch 3 times, dog. And then I'll top it off with vanilla ice cream with some different colored sprinkles or some chocolate sprinkles. Depends on what that bitch's mood is in. I'm ready to roll, man. How you doing? Sizzler too, Barb. Yeah. Let's see here. How do you think they handle racism in movie Remember the Titans? Dude, I know people who actually were on some of those teams, and I found that to be one of the coolest things of all time, and how they all came together like that. That guy was a real coach too. Both of them were really cool. I think that's a great movie. I love that movie. Shut up, Prince. I'm going to smack you in your tits, jackass. Prince, where are we in the like list, you stupid bastard? Hit the like button, please. Make me sick to my stomach. All right, let me reset. Oh, by the way, NFL released their top 10 NFL players. I think it's a joke list. Okay? Tyreek Hill 1, Lamar Jackson 2, McCaffrey 3. Mahomes 4. Myles Garrett 5. Chris Jones 6. Trent Williams 7. TJ Watt 8. Travis Kelce 9. Max Crosby 10. Here's Big Sills. Tyreek Hill is not number 1 to me. I'm going to use their list, though. I'm not going to add. Listen to M. Reyes. Get the likes up to Big Sills' weight. He's assuming 300 pounds. Ain't that far off. I don't have a problem with that. I'd roll around. Hey, 3 bones? Sure. How you doing? One thing's for sure. Big Sills ain't getting his ass kicked in a bar. How you doing? Okay, Tyreek Hill number 1. I don't think so. How could Tyreek Hill be the best player in the league when the Chiefs booted him and they don't need him to win? Okay? Yeah, don't hit the like button to get to 300. Now that somebody has said that, I feel offended. Don't hit it to get to 300 now. No, I don't want to do it. No. I'm a poor sport now. I don't want it. Mahomes should be number 1 on every list because he's winning Super Bowls. You can't put a Super Bowl winner at the back of the list. I'm with you. The Slagger, no. Guys, don't bang the no. I do not want that thing at 300. I do not want it at 300 now. I'm feeling a little bit disrespected, and I feel a little bit hurt. I feel hurt now. Okay? Dan is the man, as one of the best and most interactive channels on YouTube. Hit that like button. Slagger, you're so disrespectful to me. You're like a chick I once knew. Oh man. Still's the sensitive. No, you're like a chick I knew. So insulting. Ugh. Spank Stills his ass until it hits 300. I want you to stop hitting the like button. Stop it. Here's my list. Number 1, Mahomes. Duh. Number 2, Lamar Jackson. You sure it was a chick, Sills? Let me finish this. Sure. Wait a minute. Who said that, Scott? Number 3, Christian McCaffrey. Number 4, Myles Garrett. 270? No. Number 5, Chris Jones. Number 6, TJ Watt. Number 7, I got Tyreek Hill here. Number 8, Trent Williams. Number 9, Max Crosby. And number 10, I got Travis Kelce. All right, who said that? Scott, are you sure it was a chick? Scott, you still in here? I'm going to tell you a story about that. You tell me if I'm a bad guy. Okay? You tell me if I'm a bad guy. What the heck is going on today, Sills? Identifying as a meatball eater, talking about sauce, and this emotional? What did I miss? Wait, I got it. Hey, wait a minute. Farrell, you want to hear this? Okay. Okay, Scott. You tell me if I'm a bad guy. So we played in the Sugar Bowl down in New Orleans in '86. Really great time. Okay. We go down there. Hang on, M. Reyes. Great time. We're on Bourbon Street. One of the best times you can ever go. Sugar Bowl's really a great. We're playing Tennessee in the Sugar Bowl. We're in this bar. Could have been Hurricanes. All I know. And Scott, I think you're going to dig this. Man, we're sitting there. We're having a great time. All these chicks come over, man. Everyone's having a really great time. I go up to get some drinks. Okay. Bartender goes, hey, you see those 4 people that are at your table? I go, yeah. They're not chicks. I'm like, what? He goes, they're not chicks. I said, do me a favor. Don't tell my teammates. I really did. I went like this. Don't tell my teammates. He goes, that's fucked up. I go, don't tell my teammates. Okay. I go back over there and sit. I'm like, I'm good. Everyone's like, what? I'm going to say what we said. What are you, gay? I go, no. Don't you like women? Yo, no, yeah. Oh my God. I went like this. Hey, we're going to go out. We're going to go partying. And I just went like this. I went, yeah, have a good time, man. So next day, hey, Yale, next day, we're at train table. I see these 4 yodels come walking towards me. You fucking knew these guys. I go, what happened? He goes, the bartender stopped us at the door thing. Oh, you silly. Oh, you're an asshole. Oh. To make me a bad guy? Yeah, don't yeah. No. Yeah, don't tell my teammates. Oh. Oh man. You know those shirts they sell, the no tuck shirts? Anyway, let me do this. Let me reset here. You guys are going to be getting a new Birds 365 special. John McMullen was out of practice today, obviously. 4 days in a row. So you're going to get some intel right after the program, a special 2-hour version of Birds 365. 4-day practice right in a row here. The Sunday practice, you're going to start getting into it now in your preparation. Once again, I hate the fact they're playing the Ravens on Friday. You're playing the Ravens in week 12 or 13. You're really not going to see a lot of shit out there like that, right? Okay? Not. Isaiah Rodgers, I think it's starting to trend out. Looks like Isaiah Rodgers, Darius Slay, Reed Blankenship, and CJ. That looks like your back-end defensive backfield as of right now. If I were to put my money and push my chips in, this is what I think your defense is going to look like as of right now. This is what John McMullen will tell you more tonight. Xander, I don't know if you agree with this, but here's what I think your defense is going to look like. CB2, I think that's Isaiah Rodgers. I think your free safety is Reed. I think CJ. And I think Slay. That's your back end. Inside backers are Zach Bond and White. Now, this is going to be different here. I think Josh Sweat's going to be an outside end, stand up, and Huff is the other one. Carter. And this is what I think it's going to look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think you're going to put Davis at the nose, Carter at the left tackle, Milton, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, that's how I think it's going to look. I think your front is going to be Sweat, Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, Huff. Those are going to be your perimeter edge rushers. Your inside guys are going to be Bond and White. And your back end is going to be Isaiah, Reed Blankenship, and CJ and Slay. That's not terrible. Except for those backers. The only question mark, because look, your front three is Carter, Davis, and Milton Williams. I'm okay with that. That's actually pretty. Look, do I think you're the Giants? The Giants probably have the best front four or best front five in the NFC East. I would say that the Washington Commanders probably have the best linebacking core. But the Cowboys probably have the best back end. So that's how I would. Who's DT4? That's Yale, where I say they still need depth issues back there. Ojimo, probably. Okay. If Bond and White are reasonable, Dean only needs to be functional. Well, I think Dean's. Hey, listen, when you're signing guys like Shaquille Quarterman today, and you're signing guys off the street, the days of Jacoby Dean, his days are so valuable now because they're evaluating almost every single thing that he does. Okay, and plus you're looking at Trotter getting more reps in the conversation here too. So the Eagles have the best defensive tackles in the NFC East. Dude, New York has Brian Burns, Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau as a front. Milton Williams has an opportunity to be even a better player than what people think. So Jack Quarterman, former Hurricane, right? Well, he was a Clint Hurt. Clint Hurt recommended him, as I said at the top of the program over the weekend. Yeah, probably Brian, not yet, but ability-wise, Eagles are probably in that conversation. Look, Jalen Carter, man. Look, he's gonna be better than Corey Simon, Hollis Thomas, I believe. Is he going to be better than Fletcher and Jerome? I don't think so yet. That's something that maybe 2-3 years from now we'll be having that conversation. But I think Jalen Carter has a chance to be one of the top 3 or top 4 interior defensive tackles in the NFC and maybe even in the league. Is he Chris Jones? No. Is he the guy in Tennessee? No. Is he even Dexter Lawrence? I don't think so. But he has a shot. Hey, Chips and Birds, I think he has a shot to be all-pro. Don't think I don't. I've loved him since they drafted him. I rarely have ever made a comment. I've rarely ever made a comment where I've compared him to Jerome Brown, and I've compared him. Carr should have got the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Chips and Birds, you could thank Matt Patricia for derailing that by putting him in a 2-gap. That's the one thing that Brian Baldinger said. How do you go from having both those guys in a one technique situation, then you go into a 2-gap in the back end of the season, and you had those guys 2-gapping? You didn't have the linebacking core to be able to handle the strain of 2-gapping because they couldn't scrape the lane. And that's why when those guys started getting knocked off the ball because you didn't have enough depth back there, people were like Reed Blankenship. Why he had 100 tackles last year was why. Well, because either the running back was going to run into Reed or he was going to run into the goalpost. He couldn't stop the run. Seals, who was Jerome Brown's ceiling to be? Not Mean Joe. He wouldn't have been Mean Joe Green. I don't think he would have been Randy White. He's better than Sapp. He's better than John Randall. I'm trying to think of defensive tackles in NFL history. Bob Lilly? Like that? Not quite the size of Lilly. Lilly was really big. But Jerome was just feet, hands, tenacity, attitude. Everything you see in Gardner Johnson, that's how Jerome talked. Okay? I mean, Jerome talked like Gardner Johnson, but with a smile. Richard Seymour, he was better than Richard Seymour. Forrest, Jerome was better than Richard Seymour. He was. And I think Carter has the toolbox to be in that conversation. I do. Guys, I really appreciate you guys coming aboard here, man. Really a great Monday. Gary Cobb will join us tomorrow at 4:30. We appreciate Angelo Cataldi joining us, Xander at 3:30. Can't thank you guys enough. This is a big week. You guys are on the runway. Don't forget, a special edition of Birds 365 is right around the corner here. Joe, Xander, we thank you. 2 to 6 tomorrow. I can't thank you guys enough for a great day here on a Monday, and we'll see you on the flip side.